Yes, everybody, and welcome to High on Homegrown, the cannabis podcast from percysgrowroom.com. I am Mackie from the UK, and joining us this week, we have Billy Bonds.
Hi, I'm from the UK too, in Cornwall, and it's starting to get really horrid a bit now. It's like foggy and getting cold. So the wintry
Winter
fog
is
has come.
definitely setting in, man.
Yeah.
And you know what that means, everybody? That means
making time.
Well, yeah, that's one thing it means, definitely.
There you go. So there's
but
a bonus.
It also means that Margaret is going to be with us for a while now because she can't go outside anymore. She's frozen. The doors are frozen shut and everything already. Right,
We're
Margaret?
not quite there yet. That's right. Hi, everyone. I'm coming from central Ontario, Canada, and it's actually really nice out here today. It's beautiful.
Nice. What kind of temperatures you looking at?
Oh, like 28?
What? Really?
What the fuck?
Don't forget, it's still summer here until like the end of September, technically.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been like this. Like it's supposed to be like beautiful like this all through the next week too. Woohoo!
Oh wow. I got 14
thrilled.
degrees here, and yesterday it was on 7 degrees. I was freezing.
Oh yeah, that's cold.
Yeah,
that would be cold after 28 degrees. Like I'm enjoying
colder
right now.
than Canada? What's going on? Oh my goodness.
It's still summer here, that's why. It's summer until September 21st, and then it's officially fall.
You know the exact date and everything on the calendar, you know?
Every Canadian does, yes, because I will soon be hibernating. That is true.
It's life and death to them, innit? If they haven't got enough shit in the house, they can't exactly go nip out and fucking get it. Oh, by the way, it's -50 with 8 foot of snow. I'm just going to nip to the shop, sort of thing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So today, of course, we have the cannabis news and events, which we will do first, and then we'll talk about nutrient deficiencies and stuff. You know, common problems you might find with your cannabis plants. That's what we're going to be covering in the grow guides today. So lots to cover. But let's have a look at a few of these news articles that we're going to be looking at today. Well, one of them here, we got this higher yield. What was that? Did you hear that?
I don't know.
I heard that, yeah.
That was you, wasn't it?
No, I thought that was
I don't
Margaret.
know.
Margaret, was it you?
I didn't do anything.
Anyway, yeah, so the first one we got higher yield. Scientists believe they have finally cracked the code to increased cannabis sativa production. In other words, they're going to genetically modify this shit to make it grow bigger buds. Wow.
Okay.
Weird.
Okay.
Then we also have, could America's divide on cannabis be coming to an end? Hopefully, but we'll see. A whistleblower, Caliph, knew about toxic pot products, but looked the other way. That's another one we're going to be looking at. Damn, shame on you. Shame on you. Cannabis found at electrical overload. In quotation marks, they've got that. Cannabis found at electrical overload house fire in Leicester. Dun, dun, dun. So public safety announcement coming up there, everybody. And then we've got from Margaret, cannabis contamination rampant. That's a urgent warning issued. So we have another PSA to go through there as well, everybody. Yeah, so that's the 5 new news articles we've got to cover this week. So, and, of course, forum news and everything at the end there. And we'll do the grow guides after that. But that's about it. That's the articles. Very interesting. But before we go on to that, we're going to figure out what we're all smoking today. What have you got today, Margaret? Have you got something nice?
I am not smoking today. I am eating edibles. I made a fresh batch of date balls, and I had to try them out.
Fresh batch of what?
Date balls.
What's that?
Dates.
Dates. Like prunes dates.
Well, they're much tastier than prunes, yes, but same idea.
Wow.
You've never had those before?
I think I've had them out of a tin or something.
Oh.
So it's gonna like I don't think they were gonna be the best dates you could have, you know.
Oh yeah, because dates are so sweet, and you can like make them into these balls with other ingredients, and they're delicious.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you say, Billy? What you got?
I'm still on the date balls. It sounds a bit like teabagging, really, to me.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
But it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
I didn't want to go there.
I'm smoking some Lime Oz, actually, and some 5 Alive from BSB Genetics. But the 5 Alive's a lovely bubblegum cross, so yeah, I'm enjoying that one. Yeah. And the Perfect Tree one's really good as well.
Nice.
Quite cushy, so yeah.
I've got a few selections. Well, I've got 2 strains, but each plant comes out a little bit different. So we always like to keep them separate. And one of them in specific, it grew these fucking lovely buds on them, and it's been curing for a while. And I cracked it open yesterday. It's just been sitting in the cupboard, in an airtight jar and shit. And I cracked it open yesterday, and damn, the sweetness, the flavor of it. It's just, I was like, oh, I have to roll a fat one of those. So I have a fat one of those. Yeah, it's fucking delicious. I think it might be the tooth decay. It's a bit fruity, but I don't know. It's one of them. It's delicious.
You didn't label the pot then?
No, because you look at it and you're like, yeah, I could tell what that is from
exactly,
looking at it.
Yeah.
And then you don't know what the fuck it is the next day.
Yes. Oh my God. If I had $1 for every time I did that, I would be rich.
Mm-hmm.
That's
what it is?
I said about, yeah.
It's good fucking weed. That's what it is. I don't care what it's called.
Right.
A rose by any other name.
You'll
Do
never
you want it or
remember.
not?
Mm-hmm. Good shit. Delicious. And we have some guys out there in the chat telling us what they are smoking on as well. Who was it? Where is it?
Oh, look, that's a surprise. Someone's smoking runts out there. There's always fucking runts in chat.
Runts or Star Dog?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's almost the Star Dog of chat.
Yeah, man. So is there anything else to cover here? I don't think there's much else to say, really, is it? We're going to go.
Well, I just have to point out
news.
this comment from Shiva Wilson. Do you date balls or date tits? And I would say, people, come on.
Come on.
This was a wholesome, infused
It's a family show. Jesus.
Yeah. No, it's not a family show. So if that's what you're here for, you should leave right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Put the kids to bed, everybody. Jesus.
That's right.
But I think that's it. I think we are ready to move on to the news. Let's just quickly hit the joints before we do that, everybody. Let's do it. Let's hear them lighters click. Yeah. Now I'm gonna be coughing and shit because it's strong. Here we go.
Inhale.
Delicious.
Actually, inhale, people. Remember that.
Yeah, come on, everybody.
Yeah.
Don't be like Obama. Inhale that shit.
Weren't it Bush, though?
Was it? But I don't know. I think they all say the same thing.
Or Clinton.
Clinton, maybe.
One of them. Yeah.
Who was it, everybody? Let us know in the chat. Who was it?
She inhaled, didn't she? But he didn't.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Let's go on.
Clinton. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was as well. It seems to ring a bell. Yeah, but Clinton, he wasn't good at telling the truth.
No, that's not what his legacy was about.
Allegedly.
It was not defined as sexual relations. What did he say after all that
alleged
shit?
Anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely not alleged. Oh gosh, we could go on about that. Jesus. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Clinton. Didn't mean to say bad things about you. You gotta be careful. Fucking hell.
I did.
Yeah, exactly.
I did. If you're listening,
his missus might come along and introduce you to a tree.
Yeah, well, find yourself, go and hang yourself after you've shot yourself in the face twice.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know how it is. Let's go on to the news. Jesus.
Press that button.
Everybody's playing at the speaker there, so you usually do that. Okay. Right, so here we are for this week's Cannabis News and Defense. Brace yourselves, everybody. Brace yourselves. I mean, there's not any seriously bad news, I don't think. But we'll go on to this first one, which I think is an important one. This higher yield. Scientists believe they have finally cracked the code to increase cannabis sativa production. You know what the code is, really? Just take care of the fucking plants, man. Jesus, how much more do you want from these things?
That's a great question.
Really, realistically, these buds grow fat enough already. If you've done it properly, you're getting a huge amount of cannabis. The amount of plant matter there is, most of that is flower. There's stem and roots, but I mean, how much more do you want from these? How much? When you grow fat buds and you get bud rot because they were so fat, you had the stale air on the inside and shit.
I was going to say that it's increase the chance of mold, won't it? Just having really, really fat, dense buds. It's like
at what point is it too much?
Size, yeah.
That's what I mean.
It's never enough when you're selling commercially.
Very true. Very true. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the problem. Yeah.
I mean, it's
they don't mind selling moldy weed as well. So we've all seen all that.
As we'll talk about later on. Yeah, fuckery. But let's see what we have then. Let's go into this article. Researchers from the Nanjing Horticultural University Academy of Science says they have found a crucial gene that directly impacts the number of flowering sites on a cannabis sativa plant. Dubbed CSMIKC1, the gene was found to drive inflorescent development when overexpressed and hinder development when underexpressed. The team also found that adding ethylene increased the gene's expression. Together, the discoveries could directly impact the commercial cannabis industry. And this is in quotes here. This is a quote. It seems like a long quote. So, through gene editing and functional analysis, the researchers demonstrated the gene's impact on flower production, highlighting its potential to transform agricultural practices, explains the NJU press release announcing the team's findings. The breakthrough sets the stage for developing high-yielding cannabis strains tailored for both medical and industrial use. Right, so, I mean, this is going to go on and we'll continue in a bit, but I don't know, at what point is it too much, man? You know? I'm happy with the amount my plants produce. I mean, more would be cool, of course, but I'm happy with what they already do. But as Margaret said there, for commercial, you know, they're going to try and scrape every little bit out. But it's like, is it just going to be like money, massive ball buds? You know, it's like, what? I don't even know. Jesus.
It's about the ethylene. The ethylene's what the ripening agent in like bananas and
that's
shit
right,
like that.
That's why you have to store your random fact of the week, everybody. But when you buy your bananas, you've got to hang them above the fruit. Don't put it in the fruit bowl with the apples and the oranges, because that emits the ethylene, and that's what ripens fruit. So hang your bananas separate from the rest of your fruit if you want it to last longer.
It also the seed germination, it aids that as well. So
okay, and I mean, and that's just gonna get what's it gonna do? Because that ripens fruits, but what's that going? It's not gonna make buds grow faster. You know what I mean? Or is it?
I think it's it'll produce more sites, I think, is the thing. So instead of having 2 sites, you'd have 3 or 4 sites because of the.
It's hard to envision that.
But then again,
you can kind of see it. You know that meme with the dog with all the muscles?
I suppose that's it.
You know, that's what it looks like in my head right now. Just that, but ganja.
Right.
Shoot.
So then that just says if you want nicer buds, just add some decaying fruit matter like banana skins and like plums and apples and shit like that.
That's a good point. I wonder if the ethylene from bananas, but then it's going to be the same thing as like the mushroom bags with the CO2. If you're in a small,
growers already be doing that too.
Yeah, I think so.
Cashew and stuff like that. And wouldn't it? Yeah.
I mean, but and the same thing with things like that. Ethanol's a gas. And that's like the CO2 thing. If you're not in a enclosed space, it's just going to be sucked out the tent and taken outside anyway. So I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference.
Wouldn't you just bury the banana skin so it does it in?
But then that's
soil
what's that? A lot of potassium? Is that a lot of potassium for the when it's broken down gets
too much?
Yeah, I think so. And it needs to be composted beforehand.
Yeah. So
anyway, this article continues. We got cultivation of cannabis sativa. Although the cultivation of cannabis has only recently started to become legal in parts of the US, methods to improve the quality and quantity of the plant's flower buds have long been a goal of amateur growers and illegal drug operations alike. Most traditional to create high yields include tried and true practices used in the cultivation of many crop species, including proper water, nutrition, and the correct ratio of sunlight to darkness. For just take care of the fucking plant and it will produce. And you got to get the good genetics, but at the same time, you got to take care of the fucking thing too. There is also a burgeoning community of online growers. That's all of us, I think. Shout out to us. There is also a burgeoning community of online growers who share their experimental methods for increasing bud production. This includes suggestions like using black lights, feeding the plants with specialized additives, or even playing music for the plants. Now, large-scale legal cannabis cultivation operations are looking to tap into the same advanced scientific methods used by commercial farming of food crops, including genetic modification. Of course, the design and use of these genetically modified organisms have been met with a lot of controversy. But there has not stopped large-scale farming corporations from taking advantage of the magic genetic science to improve their own crop yields in a wide range of species. So yeah, this is going to go on. I mean, it's quite a long article. It carries on. It gets all sciencey and shit, and but essentially, they're going to be using the CRISPR. Actually, this bit's important, but I'll read this bit out of here. Genetic editing and the addition of ethylene. In their experiments, the NJAU team used CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing to manipulate the expression of the CSMI-KC1 to determine whether it would affect the flowering of the cannabis plant. So yeah, they're going in with CRISPR, and CRISPR's this thing that can, it goes like deep into DNA. And takes little bits out to trigger different genes to make sure some genes will express themselves and others won't, and that's essentially what they're doing. It's what they would plan to use one day, or may already be doing it and just don't tell us about it. You know what I'm saying? But they can have designer babies. They can get rid of the hereditary diseases by
Yeah, it's like gene editing.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Fuck knows how it works, because that's some deep ass sci-fi shit. But this is real. This is actually happening. CRISPR-Cas9 is already a thing that is being used. So very interesting. So to be able to know which gene it is that triggers how many flowering sites are on a plant and be able to go in there and edit that shit, that's next level. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Well, that's what aliens done to us.
Maybe. That was the Anunnaki. That's what they did to us. Well, what was you saying there, Margaret? You got something to say there?
No, I was just saying it's pretty interesting that they can use it for this kind of thing.
Damn,
whether we need it or not is always up for argument, I suppose. Because like you said, if you're doing it right, you should be able to get some pretty healthy yields as it is. But
exactly,
in the relentless pursuit of profit, I guess the commercial applications are endless.
Damn. I mean, how
but cannabis is so dangerous, it might turn into some sort of triffid plant and then eat everyone.
That's a scary thought. It is
the government tell us how scary and dangerous cannabis is, so it could be true.
Right.
And just a shout out to Great Racer in the chat there. This was actually sent in by him, I think. He sent this news article into us, so we appreciate that, man. And if anybody has any news stories they see at any time that they think we should cover, then send it to us on Discord over at the forum. You can email it to me at highandhomegrown@gmail.com, all that kind of stuff. You know, get in touch, send us news articles, man. We prefer to cover the stuff you send us because we know that's what you want to hear. So do send us articles if you see them. But yeah, very interesting article. And I was the question which this article, it begs the question, everybody. Would you smoke genetically modified cannabis? And in some sense, we already do because they've been genetically modified through breeding. But when the scientist goes in there and starts flicking shit around, do you smoke that shit? What are you saying, Margaret?
I'd give it a shot. Sure.
Well, what about you, Billy? Sorry, Margaret, you want to finish?
GMO stuff is like interesting because it is pretty controversial, but so much of what we eat or consume is already genetically modified in some way. We don't even realize it.
Damn.
I'd probably test it, but I wouldn't want to smoke it regularly just in case I did turn into a zombie or a bat or something like that. You never know.
What do you mean you wouldn't smoke it regularly? Oh, you mean like on a regular basis?
Yeah, on a regular. I wouldn't grow it myself. I'd stick to the what I know is best. Like, just because nature knows best. Why should we edit stuff, man? Everything humans have tampered with, we've fucked up and turned to proper crazy shit. So I think our history says, like, maybe leave this shit alone because, like, nature's created a great plant.
I'd be really skeptical.
We've co-evolved with it.
But
we've got an endocannabinoid system for a reason.
Yeah, I'd be really skeptical of it, but if it smelled like that dog shit cheese, I'm going to have a fucking shot at it.
That's what I mean. You're going to have a taste and see what it's like.
Well, yeah,
you know what
I'd try it out. Doesn't mean I'd be a daily consumer of it, but, you know.
Damn, yeah, very interesting article, man. And obviously, as this progresses, we will keep you informed of what's going on. And maybe, I just, again, because I'm trying to think, what improvements can you really make Is it going to make that? You just want to put an extra 10% on the yield? You can already do that. You know, some strains I have grown, and you can tell the difference with just the bud size. Some they grow different buds depending on the genetics. And a couple of times I've had plants that have grown these ridiculous colas, like 2 liter bottle of Coke, ridiculous size, absolutely. It's like, how have you done that? You know, how's this plant produced this huge cola here? But I don't get that with every plant. But seriously, what else do you need? Do you really need anything bigger than that? The mold, the problems that come with it, the
mold
drying
problems, man. Is So I'd
But they
rather have
don't care about the
1,000.
mold, do they? And we can move on to that article now. Have you got? Is it you, Billy? The with the
The
news article
toxic
about the
pot
mold?
products.
Or, I know we got
yeah.
one for Margaret to read out as well. But that's
Well, either
Yeah, the
way,
cannabis-
we'd
sorry,
flip
Margaret?
a coin.
No, that's a fine.
But you-
This is- I'm sorry.
Are you high there, Margaret? Have you been consuming cannabis?
Oh, maybe. Oh, maybe. So are we doing Billy's article or are we doing mine?
What was your one about again? Because the thing is, with this article, everybody got it, and it got good headline. I think we got it from Discord as well. I think somebody sent it in.
Mine's the
to
cannabis
us.
contamination rampant, urgent warning issued, which
Yes.
does kind of line
Yeah.
up. So I can go ahead with that one.
Yeah, let's do that. But just before we
Yes.
move on, these motherfuckers, everybody, got sent a link on the Discord. It was like, oh, this seems like a really interesting article, and then I click on it, and you know what it says? You know what it says? Look at that. Look what it says on the screen there, everybody. 451 unavailable for legal reasons. Sorry, this content is not available in your region.
Do you not have a VPN?
Not when I'm doing just news stuff.
Well, sometimes it's handy for just new stuff when you're
Wow.
like,
Yeah,
screw
but
you.
we have to pay for VPN over here. Like, we're a bit tight.
Yeah. But I think
True.
it might be
True,
worth
true.
it now with the all the stuff that's going on with the internet over here, people getting locked up for things they post on Facebook. Maybe it's a good
Yeah,
idea
with
to get a
Starmageddon
VPN.
going on then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jesus, but yeah, I just think that's bullshit. It's like I can't read this. It's just information. It's just information about
article.
stuff. You're not selling me anything. It's just information, and I'm not, because I'm in a particular place, I'm not allowed to have this information now. That's weird,
And
man.
From
Why have
their
they done
weird
that?
perspective, it's not even like an article that's just like raw cannabis. It's kind of like, you know, but
Strange.
it's strange times indeed.
Mm-mm.
Cannabis contamination rampant, urgent warning issued. And this article comes to us from greenstate.com. Colorado legalized cannabis a decade ago, with Washington quickly following suit. Years later, California came online, triggering what many dubbed the green rush. Now, only a few states without any form of legalized weed remain, and garden gummies are more normal than ever. Can't even talk. I can't even read. Cannabis commissions and lawmakers.
Did you? How strong was that edible you took today, Margaret?
Maybe my calculations are off. I'm not sure. Anywho, cannabis commissions and lawmakers embarked into unknown territory as voters and politicians enacted reform. After working out the kinks, the wheels and cogs are starting to hum, and some safety measures are beginning to show their worth. Now, bad actors are rising to the top, but one advocacy group has the answer to keeping consumers safe. Cannabis recalls are mounting. Every state has its cannabis industry challenges, but recalls and dirty weed are popping up all over. Board-certified emergency physician Dr. Lee Vinokur believes these bad apples may spoil access for the whole bunch. He's quoted as saying, many physicians are hesitant to recommend cannabis, even when they do believe it could offer relief to their patients due to concerns about the safety of the cannabis products available. Missouri has issued multiple massive recalls for over 100,000 products manufactured with untested cannabis and hemp. Dozens of shake, trim, and flower batches may have been cultivated with banned pesticides in New Mexico. Meanwhile, California company West Coast Cure Products have tested positive for banned insecticide over the summer.
Damn.
Everyone deserves clean weed, and a patient advocacy group, Americans for Safe Access, has taken it into their own hands with the new banger, What's in Your Cannabis, a patient and consumer guide to navigating consumer or cannabis safety. patients and consumers deserve access to safe, reliable cannabis products, but the reality is that not all products undergo rigorous safety testing. While recalls are a sign of a healthy regulatory system, they are a good reminder of cannabis safety issues, even in regulated markets, ASA President Steph Shearer said to in a press release. The Cannabis Consumer Safety Guide covers the gamut, ensuring consumers are prepared to identify potential red flags while shopping in the regulated market. Over 30 pages dive into health considerations like drug interactions, how to navigate cannabis medicine, and pharmacodynamics of pot and pharmacokinetics and more. I'm impressed I could read those. Those who choose to consume cannabis should understand the possible side effects, what it means to green out, potentialities of getting cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, and more. Now, after all these recalls are public, learning about safety concerns is just as important as the health implications. It's talking some more about the guide, and I guess what these folks are doing is just providing the public some of the information that they're probably needing while they're navigating this legal market, because it looks like, 100,000 product recalls. What was that number? Where did I see that? 100,000 products manufactured with untested cannabis and hemp. That's a lot.
Yeah, but and it made me think when we were flicking through this article. How often do they test apples? Right? Let's say, for example, that they test. They got 1,000 apples. Do they test 5 apples to make sure that there's no pesticides? Do they test 10? Do they test 100? And it's like with the same with cannabis products. How much of it is tested? You say you got 100 plants that you harvested. You got 10 ounces of each. You got 1,000 ounces. How many of those ounces are being tested to make sure it isn't contaminated with shit? Is it 5? Is it 10? You know, under the same purpose. You know, is do they test every single one of them?
Yeah.
I wonder how it works.
No, it's a good point. But when they also say that they're finding companies that are using like banned insecticides or banned pesticides in a couple of these cases, I mean, that's sort of shitty.
Yeah.
And when you see the doctors are hesitant to recommend this stuff, because I don't know, if you have cannabis that's got banned insecticides on it, that might be making a health condition worse, not better.
Yeah, fuck that shit, man. This is why you gotta grow your own, everybody. Even when it's legal out there, you still gotta grow your own.
Grow your own, make your own edibles. Life is fine.
What are you saying about this, Billy?
Again, the practices are all about profit. So it's mass yield, and like the previous stories, want bigger buds again for more. Why isn't it about growing a great plant in a great way and producing great medicine? Because if you do that, then you're going to make a lot of fucking money. You know what I mean?
Shareholders to appease.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's
and
the
people who don't know
again.
cannabis,
it's becoming a commodity, not what it actually is, which is just a plant, right? So.
That's right, man. Most of these people haven't even consumed cannabis. These shareholders, they haven't even consumed cannabis before. They don't know what the fuck people want. And what we just want some good shit, you know? We don't want it covered with... Oh, man, we could go on for ages. We're preaching to the fucking choir. Not cool, man. Not cool to have contaminated cannabis like that. This is why you have to grow your own, everybody. If you can, of course. But madness. Right, interesting article. Have we got anything to add to that one? Are we done with this one?
I think so. Just gummy bastards, innit?
Yeah.
It's
to be expected. It's to be expected. Yeah. But we have an interesting one here. Another public service announcement while we're here. You know, you got to be careful with your grows, everybody. These things can set fire. There's a lot of electricity being pulled through the wall, you know? So sometimes it can get a little bit too hot. And if the equipment's dodgy or you've rigged electricity or done something stupid like that, you're at risk, man. And we don't want to see anybody harming themselves, damaging property, and none of that crazy shit, man. We want you to be above board with everything. So we just thought we'd bring this article to your attention here. Do you want to hit this one then, Billy?
Yeah, mate. So obviously in the UK, we get a lot of cannabis grown illegally in all these dodgy places. And as normal, multiple cannabis grows have been found following a house fire in Leicester city centre. And officers were called into the fire in Leicester's So in Leicestershire, the fire and rescue service shortly after 2:45 BST, 3 a.m. basically on Saturday, they found the grow shortly afterwards. So an inspection concluded that the blaze was caused by accidental electrical overload. So as normal, these illegal growers have just overloaded the electrics with the amount of fucking power they're pulling. It's sort of in a social media post, Leicestershire police said grows put communities at risk in multiple ways, including high risk of fire, which can cause significant damage to neighbouring properties as well. Inquiries into the incident is still ongoing, but basically from the original fire report, it's saying that they've just overloaded the electrics. And again, it's the illegal side of shit that's creating all this because people are just filling entire properties to try and make mass profit, and then it's overloading the energy cap on that property, and boom, fire, heating up. And also, they don't realise it wouldn't be an issue if they used the high density cables. So they're just using normal box standard electrical cables, which can't handle the heat pressure.
Well, I don't think many people know about that kind of shit. You know, how much can you pull through the wall before it does become a problem? A lot of people don't know that, you know.
Also, like the distance you're pulling that through, the cable gets hot. So the more distance and the more power, the better cable you want because of the amount of heat it creates.
Yeah.
So it's all that sort of thing. It's like laying your what's it called, your ballast on a fireproof block or a piece of stone or something like that. So it's
You have to be very careful with this stuff, man. Electrical safety. And we're going to cover electrical safety. And we already have in the past in the previous episode of Grow Guides. But as we're on a new series of Grow Guides now, we will be covering that further in the future as well. You have to be very careful with what you're doing. If you're living in the UK especially, we have like checks and stuff to make sure everything is working correctly. And you're at much less risk of fire. But you have to be very careful. Don't overload sockets. Don't go using too many extension cables, man, and don't plug your lights into extension cables. That's not what they're used for. You need the light to go straight through the wall into your timer. It needs to be a heavy duty timer into the wall, and only put one light per socket. You don't be going fucking crazy and overloading shit, because it will overload the wire that's in the wall and it can overheat and set fire to shit. Have to be very careful. Be careful. It's so important, man. Damn.
Especially if you've got like two wall sockets with extension lead extension lead on it. You're pulling so much power from that one socket off of two plugs. So that socket's just going to overheat, spark, and then just burn up the entire wall. And anything nearby just catches fire because it's intense heat. And that's what creates the fire, is because it's such intense heat.
Yeah. And if you're careful, it's not very likely to happen because the equipment is made real good nowadays. And even if they do fail, it's rare that they do set on fire. But you can't be too careful, you know, rather take the precautions. And Backblast just mentioned I got fire extinguishers, heat detectors, and smoke detector in my grow room. And you can get these fire extinguishers that will set off automatically if something gets too hot. And you can get ones which let out CO2 gas. Yeah, because if you use one which lets out foam or powder inside your grow room, you hang it up in your grow tent. If that goes off, then all your buds are going to be covered in fucking powder and shit. But if the CO2 one goes off, it's just gas, and you have a better chance of not ruining your crop. But it might already be ruined from what the fire was anyway. But anyway, you know, something to think about. Just be careful out there. You know, it's scary to think. But did it say in this article how many crops they were doing, how many lights were being pulled through it? Do you know what's going on there?
No, that is just basically a house being used all over. You can see from one of the pictures that it's like loads of wires going in between two rooms, and you can see like from the wiring, just wiring everywhere.
See it there on the screen now. Look at the state of the place as well. Fuck hell.
So you can tell sort of like the heat just all of a sudden took over, boom, and then that's it. It's created a heat fire rather than just massive.
And this is
damage.
This is just another one of the many problems that we have here in the UK because cannabis is still not legalized and regulated properly. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. This wouldn't be happening. You know, I mean, maybe it would, though, but it would be reduced a huge amount. It would be a rare thing rather than a weekly occasion, because this happens all the time. This happens all the time. Just be careful out there, everybody. Don't overload electricity. Respect that shit. Otherwise, it's gonna zap you. You know.
Yeah, we need to sort out the way we do it in this country a lot. It's becoming ludicrous now, really.
Mm-hmm. But still, you know, they're worried about a kid eating it or something. I don't know. They're worried about the mold. It just makes no sense, does it? Makes no sense.
Yep. Every week it gets worse.
Well, let's go on to another one then. But, you know, just one last time, everybody, because it can't be said enough, really. You know, be careful out there. Make sure you don't take the piss out of the electricity, because you don't want fires happening. Be careful. So let's go on to this. Could America's divide on cannabis be coming to an end? This news article changed. Look, it says here, Trump safe after gunshots were heard while he was at his Florida golf club. Campaign says. Yeah, that's a different story altogether. We can get rid of that, can't we? Yeah, there we go. So we have here, could America's divide on cannabis be coming to an end? And hopefully you think so, right? I assume so. But, you know, to assume makes an ass out of you and me, as they say, right? The US is divided when it comes to state and federal cannabis policy, but recent political developments could move the country towards greater acceptance of cannabis. And I'm sure many of you guys out there know that there's many states in the USA now that have legalized cannabis for recreational use, for medical use. I think there's only, like 10 or something, a really small amount that don't have cannabis legalization at all. So, and it seems to be a big talking point on the election, which we've covered over the last few episodes as well. We briefly mentioned how both sides, the Democrats and the Republicans, are both having campaign promises of cannabis legislation. So we'll see what happens there. We'll obviously keep you informed of that as we move forward as well. But this article is from ABC News, and it says, the US is divided when it comes to state and federal marijuana policy, but the recent political developments could move the country towards a greater acceptance of cannabis. Both major presidential candidates have signaled support for a federal policy change to reclassify cannabis as a less dangerous drug, and voters in several additional states will get a say this fall on legislation. That's because there's the election coming November 5th, everybody. Save the date. Though still illegal under federal law, public approval of cannabis has grown significantly, and so has the number of states where it's legally sold in stores. Possessing cannabis is a federal crime, punishable by fines and prison time. Selling or cultivating cannabis is a more serious federal crime, punishable by prison sentences of 5 years to life, depending on the quantity of the drug. Isn't that crazy? You're getting sent to prison for life for possession of cannabis. That's fucked. That's fucked. But many states have abolished their own cannabis penalties. 24 states and the District of Columbia, representing 53% of the nation's population, have legalized cannabis and now tax and regulate sales similar to alcohol, according to the Marijuana Policy Project, which supports legalizing cannabis. An additional 7 states have removed jail sentences for possessing small amounts of cannabis. A total of 38 states and the District of Columbia have laws that allow medical use of cannabis. The Justice Department in May proposed to reclassify cannabis from a Schedule 1 drug to a less dangerous Schedule 3 drug. Yeah, and you know that's controversial too. But that wasn't the article. That was me just fucking interjecting on myself, just interjecting myself. Which includes such things as ketamine and some anabolic steroids. But that switch involves a lengthy process. The Drug Enforcement Administration has set a December 2nd hearing to take comment on the proposal. That means the final decision could come after President Joe Biden leaves office in January. Hasn't he already left office? Is that controversial to say? I don't know. I haven't seen him around for a while. Vice President.
He's still president, but
yeah, allegedly. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee for president, backs cannabis decriminalization and has said it's absurd that cannabis is classified as a Schedule 1 drug alongside heroin and LSD. Former President Donald Trump, the Republican presidential nominee, also signaled support for the policy change this past week. He posted on his social media platform that he would continue to focus on research to unlock the medical uses of cannabis to a Schedule III drug, and said he would vote yes on the Florida ballot proposal to legalize recreational cannabis. The Florida initiative would allow recreational sales to people over the age of 21 from existing medical marijuana dispensaries, with the potential for the legislator to license additional retailers. The proposal needs at least 60% vote to pass and would take effect 6 months after the voter approval. That's cool, right? Yeah, I think it'll get 60%. Right?
Mhm. I don't know a whole lot about the sentiment in Florida, but I think they will.
Mm.
There's a
All right.
very uneducated opinion right there, but
but it's an opinion all the same.
whatever.
Yeah. This carries on. The campaign has been the costliest of nearly 160 measures on state ballots this year, attracting tens of millions of dollars of contributions, primarily from supporters and lobbyists, according to the election tracking organization Ballotpedia. Among the opponents are the Florida Republican Party and Governor Ron DeSantis, because he doesn't like the smell of it. Everybody remember when we covered that?
Yeah.
He doesn't like the smell of cannabis, so it shouldn't be legalized. Fucking prick. Who has said it would reduce quality of life by leaving a marijuana stench in the air.
And all those Democratic-run cities and their marijuanas.
Yeah, and them cannabises. Gosh, it's crazy, isn't it? The perspective of these people who are supposed to be in charge. Voters in North and South Dakota will be asked for the third time whether to legalize marijuana beyond medical use. This measure needs a simple majority to pass. So what, they've been asked twice and said no?
Well, come on, you want to. Are you sure? Are you sure?
Are you sure? Come on. Come
One
on.
more time. Come on.
There's so much tax here. Come on, please. Come on, we want it now. And they're like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. Fuck them. Nebraska Secretary of State Bob Evnen has said initiatives to legalize and regulate medical cannabis appear to have enough petition signatures to qualify for a statewide vote. He faces a Friday deadline to certify measures for the ballot. About 70% of American adults say cannabis should be legal in a Gallup poll taken last year, the highest level recorded by the polling firm since it first asked about cannabis policy in 1969. Damn. By contrast, only 1/3 of responders supported medical legalization 20 years ago. Damn. So it's
70%'s a pretty good number.
That's right. And, democracy and all that. Let's see that shit get legalized. Last year's Gallup poll showed the highest support of cannabis amongst young voters, a key demographic in 7 presidential battleground states. An analysis of the national survey data published earlier this year found that an estimated 17.7 million people reported using cannabis daily. Wow. Or near daily in 2022, up dramatically from less than 1 million people in 1992. No, it's just that they just didn't admit it back then. That's all.
Right. 16 million people are keeping it quiet.
That's right. No, 17.7 million people. They're probably in the legal states because there's more than that. Let me tell you. Though alcohol is still more widely used, the report marked the first time that the number of Americans who use cannabis just about every day surpassed the number who drink that often. Wow, no way. As legal cannabis becomes more widespread, blah, 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 blah. This goes on and on, this article. Jesus, you told us what we need to know. Gosh. Yeah, it's a long one, everybody. But there we go. What do you all think? Do you think this is something that the American population can agree on? Because it's a very divided country right now for many things. And maybe cannabis is that one thing which the majority of America, that's as it was made to do,
Exactly. Maybe it is one of those bipartisan things where finally 2 sides can agree on something, so they should do it just based on that alone.
They're both greedy cunts, aren't they? So they're starting to see the money all the legal states are making. They're like, fucking hell, look at that shit. What, you got to just grow a plant and we earn like that amount of money? It's like, fucking have that. They don't have to build nothing really, do they? A few facilities, but they don't really. a lot of the people who own farmland, a lot of them probably got waste farmland they're not even using because they can't be bothered to use it. And they're like, so we just throw some seeds in the
throw some
ground.
seeds on
And
it,
like,
you know?
yeah. Earn myself $1 billion. Like that's how they're seeing it. The power and control it has, because again, it's a powerful drug. The medicines it can produce can hold a lot of sway.
Well, I mean, it's also probably like, who was it? Ronald Reagan that brought in the war on drugs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's about time that they started to realize that that whole thing failed, and that people are choosing weed over alcohol now. Like, that's something that gets talked about more and more. So
maybe that's the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe they got friends in the alcohol industry who'll be like, you can't legalize that shit. We're going to lose too much money. We'll give you this is just allegedly, of course. Sorry, was that Margaret?
So they're both legal for a period of time, way back in the day, before Prohibition.
Yeah, in the 1920s.
People still loved their whiskey then, though. All the cowboys loved the whiskey.
Well,
and
it wasn't 1920s when Prohibition was.
As they wanted.
When was Prohibition? That was 1920s, right?
Yeah.
So damn, they were looking before then when they were both legal. Damn. It's been a long time, everybody. It's been too long. We need this legalization to happen. God damn. And somebody needs to be held responsible. You know? The fuck? Some bullshit, man. But yeah, good article there. And let us know what you all think in the chat as well, or in the comments, you know, if you listen to this afterwards. What do you think? Do you think cannabis is the one thing that can unite America? Let us know. I think so. If everybody just blazed the fat reefer, you'd all be pretty fucking chilled out then. You know? It's what we need everywhere. Should be mandatory.
Oh, sorry.
It's 60s loving again.
It was Nixon that brought in the
the
war on drugs. My apologies. My American history is obviously
didn't
poor.
Reagan have something to do with it?
Oh, I think he just kept it going.
Right.
I don't think he just kept it going.
This is where we need Monkey to answer these questions. He would know. Jesus.
So
yeah, he would.
What are you saying, Billy? You said so?
Yeah. What do you think? The Americans are going to actually change the laws this time around just because they've got to, sort of thing, rather than they want to, sort of thing? They've got to be seen to be proactive and doing something, haven't they? If you know what I mean.
These politicians will say whatever they have to fucking say to win. That's what they do. All of them.
Yeah.
There's not one side that is telling the truth. They are both lying, and you can only really know if they're telling the truth once it's done.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know,
you've got to give them the chance sometimes, haven't you? I suppose.
But no, like I said in the episode a few weeks ago, like, pay up front this time. Legalize now.
Yeah,
do it.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Yeah.
Prove it. Prove that you want to do it because you have the power to. So fucking do it. And then look how many votes that's gonna earn. Then like, I ain't lying. Like, there you go, done it. See, and we'll be like, oh yeah, okay, maybe that's gonna work. Well, I don't think that's gonna happen. You know, they're all full of shit, all of them.
Yeah. So
in all countries, it's not just the USA, it's UK as well. Yep. Don't worry, it's Canada, it's Australia. They're all full of shit. Politicians are just full of shit.
As stated in chat, do lizard people smoke cannabis?
Do lizard people smoke cannabis?
Yeah, well, that's what they are, aren't they? Apparently, all the
well, that's high up. That's high.
But they're the ones that decide, didn't they? It's not the politicians that decide; it's the ones above them. So
we need to get David Icke on the show so he can tell us all about it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Do you know who David Icke is, Margaret?
I don't think so. No.
All right, he's more of a UK guy, a conspiracy theorist who thinks that
it's the UK's Alex Jones.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
But probably a bit more farther out than Alex Jones as well.
Is that possible?
Yeah, it really is.
It really is. Yeah.
Wow. And the thing is, it's like David Icke, he's got loads of cool theories and you can really follow along and believe it. Like, you know, there's a cabal that's running the whole world. And then he goes, lizard people. And it's like, okay, mate, let's, you are obviously a little bit unhinged. You know, it's like that. When he goes that far, it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
Yeah, but it's also into the connected consciousness of the planet, isn't it? Like, and micro stuff. So basically all our brains are connected. All of us, we think of the same subconscious planet. So we have to ground ourselves and all that, reconnect with the earth to get the new information.
Damn. I don't know. Well,
know
why
some
are
of
we
it's
going
quite-
on this tangent? This isn't a session. This is an episode.
Yeah,
Jesus.
good point.
Yeah.
Back to the news.
Back to the news, everybody. Right, so we have one more news article here about a whistleblower. This is you as well, anybody?
Oh, right, yeah. Here we go. A former official, senior official. In fact, they were senior, so they weren't just an official. They were quite senior. So within the California Department of Cannabis Control, is accusing the agency of retaliating against her after she repeatedly warned her superiors about the corruption and toxic products being sold in the legal cannabis market. And according to a lawsuit filed this week in Los Angeles. So it's quite serious in a way, because this is like a lawsuit style shit. So lawyers and all that involved. So obviously this is quite big in a way, because like it's lawyers are involved now, court proceedings. So lots of evidence is going to start to creep out the woodwork here, because she's becoming a proper whistleblower. So Tanisha Boggans, the whistleblower, was hired in 2022 to run the DCC's Laboratory Services Division, which was responsible for regulating cannabis labs and cannabis testing in the state's legal market. So according to the lawsuit filed on Monday, she said that the agency was aware of the reports of numerous problems within the legal market, including products contaminated with pesticides and fentanyl, labs illegally manipulating test results, and some license holders engaging in legal sales and corruption. So she's basically like spilling the beans here. So a spokesman for the department declined to comment on the lawsuit's details, saying in an email Thursday morning that DCC does not comment on personal matters or pending litigation, which is quite standard, isn't it, really, them to say that they won't comment because we're going to court. Yeah. So the lawsuit comes as the DCC faces increased scrutiny regarding pesticide contamination in the legal market, which experts say could be harming public health.
Man.
Which we've had a few of these stories, and like Margie's one as well earlier. We've like again like the fucking the
Margaret's
one hiding
Margaret's
one. Sorry, Margaret's one. Thank you for the correction, there, sir. Thank you for the chastisation. Right, I will beat myself later. So, according to her suit, the Bogan said that the agency received numerous credible reports and contaminated reports being products being sold on the legal market. So, stating earlier as October 2023, the suit said she bought these and all the concerns about test results and the potential inflation to a manager and the DCC director. Yet the agency allegedly never acted. So she said that she faced hostility and accusations from Elliot after she tried to coordinate a response from other DCC departments on the potency issue, which tarnished her reputation. So in November 23.
So they also were lying about the potency, not just the fact that they've used pesticides.
Yeah,
they lied about that, and then they lied about the potency as well.
Yeah, the potency issue. So basically, yeah, it's not 28 or 32% THC, mate.
And this isn't the grows. This is like a lab where weed goes to get tested. Is that what it's saying?
Yeah. This is like the official lab.
Right. Like so what I think what's happening here, I don't know. This is just a random idea, everybody. There's loads of these labs popping up now to test all the cannabis because there's a lot of cannabis to be tested, and there's money in it, and they are all in like competition with each other. They're not going to be very well regulated, so they're like, people are more likely to go to a lab that will give them a high percentage THC reading. If there's a particular lab that gives 10% more than everybody else, and you want your weed to look good, you're going to send it to them. So for them to miss things out, if, say, for example, one of the places you send it do absolutely everything legit and 50% of the weed fails because of it. But then there's another one which doesn't do everything above board and they pass 90% of their shit, then you're more likely to send it to that dodgy lab. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. It wasn't, haven't we seen articles about LPs that will like shop labs? Shop different labs or whatever? To get results that they want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To see which ones send the same shit to the different labs to see which one gets you the best shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and then take that result. So use 5 labs and one of them comes back with bollocks, and you're like, yeah, I'll put that one up.
So
another one, it's a different laboratory because they come back with a better for that product.
Yeah. And then you're more likely to go to that one who did the best reading last time.
Yeah.
It's like, is this not regulated then? You know, is there nobody regulating this to make sure the standard operating procedures all over?
Well, there is, and that's what I'm saying. The woman's saying that the regulator is ignoring all the safeguarding. She's saying, well, I'm whistleblowing the stuff that's not passing, saying, yeah, that one's passed.
Yeah, and they're like, screw you, let's ruin your reputation instead.
Yeah.
Instead of dealing with this. Yeah.
And don't listen to her. She's a cunt, basically.
She's crazy.
Yeah. She's a mad cat lady. Don't listen to her.
Isn't that what always happens to whistleblowers, though? They usually try and
they swing from trees.
Yeah, that's right. It depends who you're blowing the whistle on.
Yeah. It just starts with the cat lady madness, and then it escalates to climbing up trees like a cat. So,
and it escalates to back and to the left, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy world.
So basically, this does go on for a while, but basically, this is just that there's a lawsuit coming, and they're trying to diss her and saying that, well, no, you're wrong, but she's saying, yeah, but I've got fucking evidence. Fuck yous. And
you know what? It's a bit controversial to say, but if she was a bloke, it'll be sexual assault allegations. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's what I get everybody for now. Like, oh no, we need to do something about this guy quickly. You know what I'm saying, everybody? You know what I'm saying? Sorry if that's controversial.
Just to finish it off, to show you basically how it goes, she said, like, she requested the DCC refer to pesticide contamination problems to other state and federal agencies. So because they've ignored her, she then went to other federal agencies, and then a day later she got the sack.
Wow.
So there you go, mate.
What for? I mean, they said what she got fired for. No, but they can't. Surely there's you can't do that in the USA. You have to have fair grounds for dismissal. You can't just get rid of somebody. Yeah.
Come on, she probably she done something. They'll find something, like with everyone else. They'd dig into her bins and find something she'd done. They'll implant a crack pipe in her handbag or something, wouldn't they? Come on, you know these.
Allegedly.
Oh, sorry. Allegedly, they might do something like that.
Gosh.
Along them lines. But it is, they sacked her the next day because she blew the whistle, man.
Wow.
She blew the wrong thing. She blew the whistle and not the fucking CEO.
Yeah. That's incorrect to say that, Billy. Jesus.
Is it? Oh, sorry.
You can't say that. Jeez.
But it's true though, isn't it? Because it's like, don't matter if you're male or female. If you blow the whistle or the CEO, your job's going to take you one way or the other, isn't it? It's really that's how it goes nowadays.
Yeah, sure, Billy. Sure. Billy's opinion does not match that of High and Homegrown.
Of the other.
Oh no, obviously.
The other panel members do not agree with Billy. Everybody. But you know what it's like. Jeez.
Yeah, I bet some of chat do though.
Yeah, I'm sure they do in chat. Yeah, I mean, look, that's great racer already. He's already agreeing with you. Now, let us know if you agree with Billy in the chat or in the comments. There were people like
that's the gist of the story. Then really, that's it. Over, ended.
Man, good luck to her. And, I'm sure she isn't the only one as well. I'm sure there's many other people who would have whistleblown but can't afford to lose their job. You know what I mean? They just need to keep quiet because they can't afford to lose the job. That would be shit.
Yeah, I always have massive respect for people that whistleblow, and people that do that should have like a GoFundMe afterwards for in the community that they try to help. If you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because like think of like even the people who are whistleblowing at Boeing didn't really.
Who? No, Boeing's done absolutely nothing wrong. Don't say it. Margaret. Fucking listening, Margaret.
Margaret.
I don't show up for next week's meeting.
Come on.
You know why.
Come on, I was bad enough. Now you're bloody stepping it further. Even I wouldn't cross that line.
This video ain't reaching the same views as last week now. Damn.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Boy, is this video even going to go out now? It's been scrubbed off the world.
I'll edit it. I'll edit it for our own safety.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy world out there. Good luck to those whistleblowers, man. We need those guys. Damn. And don't be a criminal. The people running these companies. Fucking, if the shit's dodgy, fucking be fair.
The right thing?
No, do the right thing. It's like, what the fuck, man?
That's a good
Come
point,
on.
Mad Dog. Like, I'll just add to that. Neither me or Margaret have a suicide pact, so we should be here next week.
Just come back next week and be like, I haven't heard of Margaret for a few days, everybody. I'm getting a little bit concerned.
We're not really sure.
She decided to go on a helicopter ride with Boeing on a free Boeing trip, and
That's right. Suddenly I was offered a free helicopter ride.
Jesus.
it had a faulty door for some reason, allegedly.
Yeah, man. Fun. Yeah, that's all the news articles that we have. We've done them all already. There's some forum news, I suppose. I've been so busy. I haven't been over the forum as much as I should have been. But sign up, everybody. Get over there. Get involved. Sign up to the forum. We're going to get a competition up in the next couple of days. I keep saying that, but as I said, I've been very busy. But there will be a Mackey's monthly comp this month. And wow, so should we give away some beans? If you comment on this video, I'll add you to a raffle for next week. I'll send you 5 monkey beans of your choice. How about we do that? There we go. Yeah, next week, everybody. So comment on this video, like in the comments, not in the chat. You have to go to the comments afterwards, or maybe you can do it now. I'm not sure. And just be like, yeah, please enter me, and then I'll take your username. We'll put it in a snail race. And next week, this time next week, when we're doing the break, then I'll add you to the snail race and we can see it happening over there. Sounds good, right? It does sound good. Oh, well, comment now, Mackie. Good plan. Nice. Is there anything else? Yeah, you can't comment yet, it says SL. Yeah, so just hang in there. And of course, if you listen to the download as well, I'll put the link of this video in the description. So if you just head there, click it, your phone's smart. It knows what it's doing. You click that link, you'll go to the video, leave a comment. Robert's your dad's brother, as they say.
So it's a test for how stoned you really are. So you've got to remember to come back tomorrow after you smoked more and slept to then make a comment.
That's right. It's a test.
Memory test. Memory test.
Yeah, and right. So, have you got any news to add there, Margaret, from Bite Me side of things?
No. Look forward to putting out an episode in a little bit on infused date balls. So
all right. Here we go again. You a full circle background to date balls. Jesus.
They are delicious and nutritious. So there you go.
I thought you were going to break into the Cheerios song there for a second.
I thought about it and then I forgot all the lyrics.
Well, you was already halfway through the first verse, so.
Was I?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Good tune. It's amazing how them tunes get stuck in our head. But anyway, yeah, I don't think there's any more news to add. We've got loads of interviews lined up. I was going to write them all down. Got like 5 lined up. I should really check the calendar. I'll check the calendar right now so I can tell you exactly what we have coming up, everybody. Blah, blah, blah. Right, we have Ames High Cannabis is joining us on Tuesday, and then the Untrained Astronaut on Thursday. And then the following week we have on Tuesday, with the CH, remember, Tuesday, Al Canasur coming to join us. And then we have Grambo on the 26th and Grow Space Killer on the 3rd of October. Damn, October's so close. So yeah, I've got 5 interviews lined up so far. Lots going on. Yeah, and if you want to recommend anybody to be on the show for an interview, everybody, get in touch, man. We want to hear from you guys. Just like with the news articles. We want to know what you want to listen to. So get in touch and let us know. But for now, we'll take a 5-minute smoke break and we'll come back and do some grow guides. Sounds good?
Sounds good. BRB.
I like it. BRB. Well, Margaret's going to BRB. I'll still be here. You there, Billy?
Yeah, I'm going to go and grab a drink quickly myself. But
so I'm left on my own. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you to your own.
I'm going to go into rant mode, everybody. What we got? What we going to rant about today? I don't want to get all controversial and shit. That's the thing.
Well, the UK government are a good place to start normally.
Well, just the censorship online. Does anybody else out there feel censored? You know what I mean? Yeah, you guys in the UK especially, of course. But do you feel like now, more than say a month ago, you are being more cautious with what you're posting on the internet? It's not like I don't post anything really controversial or anything like that. I'm just a little bit more careful now, I think. Does anybody else feel the same way? Is it all going fucking crazy out there? Scary shit, man. Well, what was you saying? Yes, please. Some Emma and James there. I seen he said a little bit, not really, just more careful. Yes, from the big bad wolfie. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything really to be concerned about unless you're actually being a fucking bigot or something. You know what I mean? And then you might have something happen. But I just think they're just making examples out of cases. I don't really think there's any real need to be concerned. But still, you should be a little bit concerned. Real question, does anyone feel safer or better off in any way? BS Law says SL. It's a good question. It's I don't think many people do. I mean, there's going to be some, because some people just, their business did well, or, they've had a good couple of years, which was down to different circumstances rather than just the economy. So there is going to be some, but an overall percentage of people, I would say that the majority of people now are feeling worse off. I definitely feel worse off now than I did 4 years ago. COVID really messed things up, man. That's and it's the same for a lot of people, and we're suffering the after effects of that now.
Yeah, I feel worse off than that. Saying that. Also, on the other thing, on the censorship, I don't really watch what I say, but I can see a lot of other people are, and that because I still ask Zelensky who supplies his soggy biscuits to him and things like that. So, and ask people who they're cucking for. And I've had nothing come back to me yet. So,
no.
Yeah, yes.
Yep, keep inquiring. Yeah.
Yeah, I will. It's an important question to know. Like, who supplies the soggy biscuits to people?
I don't know about
prominent people.
Yeah. Let us know in the chat if you have any ideas of who supplies the soggy biscuits. Jesus. Yeah, you're shocking, Billy. You're shocking. But yeah, Lord Bad Kitty said there, COVID PTSD is a real thing. I think it's crazy. Does anybody else get that as well? That it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem like that shit actually happened. Do you remember queuing outside of the supermarket and only a few people are allowed in at a time? We had to walk in a specific direction. You remember that? Because it's easy to fucking forget it. I find it. It's like there's a gap in the memory that unless I specifically go there and think about it, nothing happened, man. Just like a fucking gap. Do you feel the same way, Billy? I don't know.
Yeah, it is a bit odd like that. But there was 2 years that it sort of ended the thing. So it was like 4 years ago that it really sort of started.
Crazy.
And we went through that 2-year period. So it is. So much has happened as well, obviously, in the world since then. So they change your mind and make you forget. It's like the Trump assassination. You forgot about it, and then it's happened again already so quick. It's like the news cycle comes around so quick that like you can't keep up with what's really going on in the world because there's so much news. Obviously, with the internet and social media now, you can have a daily feed of it. But yeah, it's mad how that we was under so much control. And now we sort of forget about that side of things. I even see people now driving through like on their own in their car with a mask on, and you're like, boy, there is still a bit crazy people still out there. Like, it's odd the long-term effects it's had on people and society. Yeah, a proper PTSD sort of. Weird.
Yeah, and somebody just asked in the chat there, it was Badger. There you go, Badger. Can someone fill me in on the conversation topic? Right now we're on smoke break, so anything goes, bro. We're on a 5-minute smoke break in between the news, and then of course we're going on to the Grow Guide to talk about common cannabis plant problems that could show up throughout the grow. Yeah. Right now we're just talking shit, mate. We're just talking shit. We just like to remind you all while I'm here saying this, that we have no idea what we're talking about. Nobody really does. So this is just Brazil
tried to cancel X and all that, didn't they? And
no, they have, haven't they?
Yeah, but I think they're fighting back against it. But yeah, there's just like they're cancelling X because of free speech and all that. But it's again, it shows you how sort of mad people are actually going and how much power these crazy people feel they've got and what the control they want over everyone. It's like actually just like ludicrous, really, isn't it? They want to shut down people's free speech because they don't like what the other side. That's very dictatorial, and that's what we're heading towards everywhere. It seems, and it's like, whoa.
Hillbilly Herb said there. He said,
extreme.
COVID gave me the time and space to discover I had a bad case of PTSD from childhood trauma. BS. Overshare? Definitely not an overshare, mate. Definitely not an overshare. You feel free to talk about whatever you like here, man. And I think it's the same for a lot of people having that time. We're always on the rat race, always on the grind. So we don't really get to sit down and think about our lives and where we're going, where we've been, what the plan is, and all this. You know,
To reflect.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that we do just naturally as humans is we always constantly have to be busy on something, so we don't think about the inevitable death we are all going to suffer. You know,
Is
so
that what we should be taking time for?
no,
To
this
reflect
is
on our inevitable death. I mean, I don't
ca-
totally disagree, but
well, it was some philosopher. I can't remember which philosopher it was who said that. You know, we all just keep our minds occupied because anytime the mind gets settled, we get terrified by the thought of death or something like that.
it might have been Marcus Aurelius, actually.
Maybe yeah, we're one of those guys. Yeah, we're one of those names
Yeah.
for sure. But you know, it makes sense, and this is why we like to keep busy. And then when we had like a year of like lockdown shit where we couldn't do anything, the mind can wander, and you know, it can be a good thing. I think it's always good to reflect and shit like that. You know, think about. You know, I know the history. I had one the other day. I don't know, man, but maybe that's a bit too much of an overshare. But I suppose in the spirit of things. But I remember, I don't know. I'm not very good at expressing emotion because I just felt as if anytime I brought emotion up when I was a kid, that was kind of mocked by my parents for it. When I say my parents, my mother.
Well, that's like
So,
very common. I think that's a very common experience with a lot of
yeah.
people.
Yeah, so you know, I think so as well. I think we all have issues with expression of emotion because we don't want to be mocked for it and shit. Yeah.
Right, which is
But
crazy because we're emotional creatures, every one of us.
yeah. But then I thought to myself, maybe that wasn't even the case. Maybe I wasn't mocked for it. Maybe I was just, I was a kid and I wanted to just come across as if I was big and strong all the time, and any sign of emotion made me feel weak. So when, you know, anybody would bring it up, it would make me feel weak and embarrassed rather than just accepting it's just emotion, man. It's cool, you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So there you go, hillbilly. We can all overshare, bro. But it's good to discuss these things, man. Never feel ashamed about discussing, you know, your mental health and how you're thinking and you know how your brain works and shit. It's important to do, man. Don't be shy.
It's better to talk than to not talk.
Indeed,
But actually talk
indeed.
as well, so it actually comes out in words out of your mouth, because it makes a big difference. Rather, or write it down if you can't talk, rather than just think about it.
Yeah, man. You know, we don't want to get too soppy and shit, but I'll be back in 2 minutes. I've got to go get myself a refreshing beverage. So I didn't want to leave Billy on his own. You know,
Cheers.
but Margaret's
God,
back
what
now.
happened?
Yeah,
What would
so-
happen?
Yeah,
I've got a supervisor now. I can be
Yeah.
supervised.
No, Margaret's here. She outranks you, bro. Right, I'll be back in a second.
She's a lady. Obviously, she does. All ladies outrank us lower men.
Right,
Scum
as
of
the
the
more
earth we
evolved
are.
being, maybe.
Exactly. Which is sort of true, which is why men are dumber and stronger, because we're not as evolved yet.
Yeah,
But I think we like it that way, to be honest. I mean, we like to be mothered, so we can then become strong and dumb and sit around and
Right.
play games and do. But we get shit done. That strong dumb dude becomes intelligent when he fucking needs to. When he needs to build something, he then switch his brain on. So until he needs to switch his brain on, men don't really want to. If you know what I mean? Because when we do, it's quite intense. Because we have to fight or flight, sort of thing. So because we choose to fight, because that's why we're a superior being as such, then that's quite an intense feeling to have all the time. So we want to be able to switch off from that.
You choose to fight because anger is the one emotion that men are allowed to have typically.
Yeah, that as well. And also because we are like a Neanderthal, we are a fucking animal. We got to realize we are actually an animal, a vicious animal at that. But we control that which is why we need to switch off, which is why we need the woman there to be able to provide us the comfort, safety, and sort of stress.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
it is, because we provide the same for the woman. If you know what I mean, we provide them a stress safe environment, and we
I
both
don't
swap
agree with that either.
But we do. No, we do.
Personally.
Without each other, we
Jesus.
can't
You see why I
survive.
didn't want to leave Billy?
It's true though. I do think it is.
That's true
Without
for
each
you,
other, we're
maybe.
never
I
going
don't
to
know if
survive.
it's true for a lot of other people, but
You know, it is. It is true for all of us. We won't want to admit it. I'm
going to
self-fallacy and
respectfully
all of that.
disagree with that sentiment.
Right, so where were we? Gosh.
Freeing the world of all its woes.
That's right, solving the
Right.
world's problems one session at a time. But right now, speaking of problems, you want to focus on the whole cannabis plants and the problems the plant has. That's
Yeah,
gonna
they
be
have
next.
deep issues, them cannabis plants.
Yeah.
Oh, mine has problems right now.
Oh no, what's up with it?
It's just I don't have a long enough season.
Oh right, damn, yeah. How
Like
much
it's
longer do you think's
budding, like
left?
it's flowering, but it's just I don't know. I don't know. I feel like
Damn.
once summer ends, like the threat of frost will become
Mm-hmm.
imminent, and then once that happens, like it's not good, obviously. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Damn.
it's just time, and there's not much I can do about that. So
That's the problem with growing outdoors, isn't it? You're at the
yeah,
whatever
at the
the
mercy.
environment wants, you're just gonna
Yeah,
have to suffer it. Damn. I hope it works out though.
That's why I
yeah.
think
Well, yeah, they're
autos.
it's budding. I just don't know like how mature they'll have time to get
If you
before.
got, I mean, when does it? Because you said it was 28 degrees. When does it drop ridiculously cold now? When does it go below like 15?
Uh, well, not yet, but you can definitely feel the difference in the sun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
days are getting shorter and the sun like
Mm-hmm.
isn't as hot as it was like say in July or August. But
It's
Mm.
more the damp over and like the damp air overnight, which causes all the issues, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Green
So that's
grocer.
the
Oh no, 'cause you can't even move it. It's in the ground. Is it in the ground or in a pot, Margaret?
oh, I put mine in the ground this year because I had
Right.
high hopes
Oh well.
and then nothing worked out.
Yeah. So we've discussed that. We haven't even gone on to the grow guide yet. Are we ready?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Let's do it. Let's do the grow guide. Tune's playing through the speaker again over there. Goddamn. Yeah. So, everybody, we are on episode 11 of the Grow Guides now. And if you're following the series as we go through week by week, then you're going to be like between 2 and 3 weeks through veg, maybe up to week 4. It depends. I haven't kept track of it that much, but the plant will be vegging nicely. It should be nice and healthy. Got a few nodes on it. Should top it a little bit of training on it. That's what we covered last week. And it's just going to continue to go through the veg, but at this stage, the demand is going to increase for how much nutrients it needs to grow happily. And there could have been chances where bugs have got in, or just different things can happen. So we want to make sure that you are aware of these issues whilst you're going through veg, because then if you see any or if you have any, then you can come for help over at percysgrowroom.com. We can get you fixed up. So we want to point out what you need to be looking out for, and if you see any of these issues, we'll give brief explanations on how to fix things. But of course, just like every other grow guide, if you're unsure of anything, just head over to percysgrowroom.com, start a thread. It's all free, and we'll be able to help you out and get you back on track. Where do we even begin? There's so many common cannabis plant problems, everybody. You learn them all eventually, but it takes time. And there's one thing we should say before we even move on to these things is when you do have a problem, don't rush to fix it. Unless you are 100% sure of what the problem is, then don't rush. You want to make sure you get a good diagnosis before you move on with anything, because you might just do more damage than you started with. So be careful of that.
CalMag.
CalMag, everybody, get loads of CalMag.
CalMag.
Just
Yeah.
CalMag, that's it.
It's
That's
CalMag.
right. If the plant dies early, CalMag. Spider mites, CalMag. Not really, everybody, but this is going to be a common thing that you see when the cannabis plant does have a problem, and it's a joke amongst the cannabis community, that CalMag will fix it. And though CalMag will fix a lot of problems, because the plant needs a lot of calcium, it doesn't fix all of them, obviously. Well, let's begin with nutrient deficiencies then. Do you anybody want to start this off? Margaret, what do you think? You want to talk about some nutrient deficiencies?
I haven't really dealt with a lot of that personally, just because
Mhm.
I've been using super soil and that sort of seems to cover most of my bases most of the time.
Nice. Yeah, just it's got enough food in there to cover the whole grow.
Yeah, which is one reason why I really like the soil grow, because then I don't have
Mm.
to think about this stuff, because it does seem like it gets complicated, but I don't know.
Once it's done,
Yeah,
once it's set up and done, it's done, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
same here. That's why I like it as well. Living soil, you just have to throw a few amendments in here and there it does it all itself, really. So
Mm.
as long as you've sorted it out beforehand and got the right amount of soil for the size of plant you're growing, then sort of quids in, really, pretty much.
So the problem you're going to see with those soils, though, in any type of soil, really, is it's quite often that people would overwater them, and that would cause problems, right?
Yeah, that with soil, especially living soil, you're better off slightly underwatering than you are overwatering. So sort of that's the general response, sort of thing.
So you will still see problems if you once you've got the watering technique down with soil, you're going to be fine. But getting that down might be a bit of a learning curve, let's say. But when you're growing with salt-based nutrients, say you're in hydroponics, you're growing in cocoa or something like that, then there's a few different nutrient problems that will be seen more than others, right? So you've got these main three nutrients, the macronutrients they're called, and there's essentially four of them, but we really only think of it as three: the NPK, the nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. These are the main ingredients that are going to grow the majority of the plant. Now, there's a shitload of stuff in the background as well called micronutrients, where it's like zinc, boron, molybdenum, and all these different the different minerals that the plant's going to use, but they're in smaller amounts, just trace amounts. So the main three you're going to see when you have deficiencies is the main top three, and then if you have problems with the other one, it's probably down to a pH imbalance in the medium rather than there being a lack of the trace minerals. Yeah. So you had nitrogen deficiency before, Billy. Have you always grown in super soil, or have you grown cocoa at some point, or hydro?
I have grown that sort of in hydro, helped other people really grow in hydro and cocoa and stuff. And yeah, and that's where you really have the main issues and stuff. And again, like you say, it's having the knowledge of spotting it early to deal with, which is the main thing. Which again, like you say, having a Percy's grow room, like somewhere you can take actual pictures, send off. I'm having this with my plants, what's going on, and then you can a lot of people can generally give you a.
That's it, and it's always good to get a second opinion as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So even if you do think you have the right idea, go get a second opinion.
Yeah, take pictures and say this is what I think, and then other people concur or not concur, or maybe concur with half what you've come up with something else that you can add to your grow. But I normally like using like worm shit and bokashi a lot in the living soil if I seem to be having any issues with the plant that it's not green enough, or the tips are slightly changed. If you know what I mean. I know there's not a lot of soil in that one, so it's like I know. Just add more natural shit like that, and maybe eggshell and stuff for like the calcium, magnesium sort of issues. And because it's living soil, the plant sort of generally fixes itself if it's got what it has added to it. So
they say,
again,
like when it comes to living soils and shit like that, and when you're using worm castings and proper compost and all of that, there's like 80, maybe even more than 80 different nutrients that are available to a plant. But when you're using salt-based nutrients in a hydroponic medium, there's like 22. Well, it was between 18 and 22, I think, depending on how good the brand is that supplies all these things to it. And there's the benefits between one and the other. You know, we discussed this in the nutrient thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the issue is getting the right combination for the right brand and in your grow and your hard water. So again, it's as they say, dialing it in, which is why I think a lot of people are going to go the living soil route just because it's less dialing in.
Yeah. So when we talk about these nutrients, right, we're going to talk about the macronutrients first, which is the NPK, the nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. Now these are known as well as being macronutrients. They're also mobile nutrients, and this essentially means that if it's needed at the top of the plant, it can be taken from somewhere else on the plant, from the bottom, from the middle, wherever it wants to take some from to feed the new growth. Say, for example, if it's nitrogen and the plant needs nitrogen, it will take it from the lower leaves and move it up to the top to make sure that these new leaves can grow at the top rather than the bottom. So when it comes to the NPK, you're going to see yellow leaves at the bottom. That's going to be the first thing, and that's the most common thing. This is for the deficiency. And you can tell when it happens, though. Usually you'd see the nitrogen deficiency during veg because the plant uses up a lot of nitrogen. So if you need to add more nitrogen, you just add more nitrogen. It's real simple. And you might see PK deficiencies during flower because that's when the plants are going to be using more of that PK. So keep an eye on that and bear that in mind when you're trying to identify the issue as well. So if you're in veg and you got them yellow leaves starting at the bottom, then it's probably down to your pH. Always check pH, make sure pH is working. And if not, then just give it a little bit more of the grow newts so we can get an extra little bit of nitrogen. And the plant should pick up pretty quickly after that. Yeah. Well, what next? The PK. Yeah, the PK. We'll talk about the PK briefly. Likewise, when you're in flower, you will see the bottom leaves start to go yellow, and that probably means that it's a PK deficiency because the plant doesn't use as much nitrogen. And if you're just using some bloom newts, that should have plenty of nitrogen available. It does happen. You can get a nitrogen deficiency in flower as well. It's just less likely to be that if you're in flower. But, it can always happen as well. So keep an eye on that. Right, so as well as the deficiencies, you got excess as well, where you can give shit too much. And that usually in those cases when the plants are getting too much food, you see the tips of the leaves drying out a little bit and changing color, a little bit of tip burn, it's called. That can happen for numerous reasons, but it's usually because the plant has been given too much food. Right, or if you're growing in cocoa or a hydroponic medium, if that's happening, it might be down to you letting the medium dry out too much because there's been a EC spike because you let the medium dry out. But that's more complicated. We'll get into that when we get to cocoa. Don't concentrate too much on that right now. But then there's all sorts of like minor things you need to look out for. Brown spots on leaves, black spots on leaves, leaves falling off, leaves crinkling in a particular way, and each different thing will express itself in a different way. And there's a really good book you can get, which is highly recommended. And we'll do an episode on books when we're going through the flowering process. We'll do an episode on what books that you should get. But the Cannabis Encyclopedia by Jorge Cervantes is an epic book, and it has all of these pictures and symbols that will tell you exactly what you need to look at for each cannabis deficiency. So get that book if you want to know more about this stuff as well. So bear that in mind. So have you seen any deficiencies on your plant growing outside then, Marge, or is it just growing nice and happy, healthily?
This year, actually, it's doing really well. And maybe that's because I'm in a new place and I put it right in the ground and it got a lot more sun. I have had problems before, though, because I know somebody in the chat mentioned thrips. Is that what they're
Yeah.
called? I had those once, I think, I don't know if it was last year or the year before. So I've definitely had my share of problems. Yeah.
Thrips are the worst pest I've encountered. I've been lucky, touch wood, as people do if they're suspicious. I'm not, but I'm touching the wood anyway because it's so fucking bad. Cause spider mites I've never come across, so I'm happy about that. Fuck, I'd be devastated if I had those. But we'll move on to the bugs in a bit. Yeah, thrips are assholes, says Hillbilly Herb. They fucking definitely are. Right, so just got a list of nutrients here. So we have nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, which are the mobile nutrients. Like I said, if there's a deficiency of nitrogen at the top of the plant can call it from the bottom of the plant, from the bottom leaves, and drag it up to the top where it's needed more. So, but there's the immobile ones as well. Excuse me. Yeah, the immobile ones as well. We have calcium, which is an immobile nutrient, and then magnesium, which is a mobile nutrient. And as far as I know, I'm not too sciencey with this kind of stuff, but if I understand correctly, the calcium's immobile, but when it has the magnesium can carry the calcium to where it needs to be. So this is why CalMag usually is put together, because they work in conjunction with each other. And sometimes you can have plenty of calcium in the plant, but it's not moving around. So if you spray it with some Epsom salts, which is magnesium sulfate, or magnesium sulfide, I'm not too sure. Like I said, I'm not sciencey, but it's got a lot of magnesium in it, so it can help the calcium move around the plant easier if you foliar feed it. So bear that in mind. Then you have sulfur as well, which is it's like a secondary nutrient, like the calcium magnesium is. Not used as much, but it's still important to a cannabis plant. And it said that an increased amount of sulfur can increase the smell and the flavor of the buds at the end. So sulfur's needed quite a bit. But then you got these really small ones: the zinc, the iron, manganese, boron, copper, molybdenum, chlorine, cobalt, nickel, and there's more. It goes on and on. There's lots of different. All of this stuff's already been done by a nutrient company, so they should all be in these nutrient bottles that you buy. You get a good brand and it's already done for you. What you need to focus on is the pH. If the pH is not within the correct range, if it's too acidic or too alkaline, the plant's not going to be able to get hold of the nutrients that are available to it, and then you'll start to see problems as well. And this is why I say, if you're seeing the yellow leaves or the brown spots, check pH first. It's most likely that's going to be the problem. I have found in my experience anyway.
That's the one and pretty easy thing to check for too. Checking the pH of your water, because I've definitely made that mistake as well. I've made all those mistakes, I think.
Yeah. This is the best way to learn as well. It's by learning these mistakes.
Yeah.
Because you learn harder. You learn the harder lesson when you make the mistakes yourself. But it happens. You can't predict what your plant needs. Sometimes the plant's just going to start running out of nitrogen, or it's growing fast enough and it wants more nitrogen. So then you can just up the feed. If you're growing the hydros and stuff, you just add a little bit more of the grow nutrients. Say 0.5 milliliter per liter more, and give it a few days, and it might peak up a little bit after that. But also get a second opinion. Always get a second opinion, just in case. The yellow leaf doesn't necessarily mean it's nitrogen deficiency, it's PK deficiency. It might be a form of bud rot. It might be some virus shit going on. It could be CalMag deficiency. There's other things it could be. So get the second.
I would second that too, because you can always go over to, say, I don't know, Percy's Grow Room to help.
That's right. Yeah, I've heard of that
get
place.
that opinion.
It's good.
Because otherwise you're just kind of like fucking around to find out. And you're not, like, I don't know, if you can get a better idea of a targeted solution to your specific problem, that's always better.
That's right. And it's always a concern, but don't rush.
Yeah.
Like Margaret said there, you could just do something completely wrong and make the whole situation a lot worse. Make sure you just get a second opinion and figure out what's going on, and then you'll be
They're
sweet.
pretty resilient too. They can
Yeah.
put up with a lot of your mistakes. So
Yeah, 3 or 4 days ain't going to make a great difference in the plant.
Yeah.
If you're just looking at like a leaf deficiencies, because you can change it within a day or two. So after a week, you've changed your plant gone from assessing a problem to changing the problem, and you've
making it
just
worse.
done an extra, yeah.
Because there's also nutrient excess as well, everybody. I mean, and you will be, as new growers, you will hear about nutrient deficiencies quite a lot. But there's also nutrient excess, which is quite common in new growers, because it's easy to, you read the nutrient bottle, it'll be like 4 milliliter per liter. You'll be like, okay, I'll put that in. That's crazy. It's far too much. But the nutrient company don't care about that, do they? They get to sell 4 times as much shit because you're using it 4 times faster. You only need to use a quarter of what they're recommending, and you just build up the nutrient, the amount you're giving it slowly, and you can look out for any signs of excess, or deficiency, and balance accordingly. But just start at a quarter, make your way up. It's much easier to fix an underfed plant than it is to fix an overfed plant. So go light with the food, just and build it up slowly. But when it starts to get to the excess stage, there's this thing called nitrogen claw. If you've got too much nitrogen, you will see the leaves starting to claw. Like, if you claw your hand, the leaves will start doing that. The tips are turning underneath, and they'll be dark green as well. That's a classic sign that you're giving the plant too much nitrogen. So if that's happening to your plant, then reduce the amount of nitrogen you're giving to the plant. And of course, say it with me, everybody, check the pH. It's going to be a recurring theme, I think, everybody. But yeah, according to this here, which is in the Cannabis Encyclopedia, you got the foliage becomes weak, greenness moves up. So the dark leaves at the very bottom, and it'll start moving up towards the top of the plant, because it's a mobile nutrient. So if it doesn't need it, it's going to store it at the bottom, and then take it whenever it needs it. And the bottom leaves turn lush dark green. Yeah, so that's the excess as well. So if it doesn't have a lot of nitrogen, the bottom leaves, they're going to start turning yellow and falling off. And if it has too much, they're going to go dark green. All right. And you're going to see that nitrogen claw. So keep an eye. If that's a problem, just, adjust the nitrogen level accordingly and make sure the pH is correct. Then you have phosphorus. You're going to see this one more in the flowering stage, because the plant uses it a lot more during the flowering stage. And you should be adding some PK booster or something. Right. If that goes deficient, then you'll see spots. I can't quite see what color the spots are. It's like, I know this shit, but I just want to make sure they get it correct, so I don't fucking mess up your guys' shit. But dark copper colored or purple to black dead blotches on the lower leaves, that's a classic sign of a phosphorus deficiency. Like it would be like purple, black, and the leaf texture changes around it as well. It's a real strange look, so keep an eye out for that. It doesn't necessarily go yellow. That's more of a sign of you got too much. If it's starting to go yellow at the top of the plant and everything else at the bottom is fine, then that's the onset of one of these phosphorus deficiencies as well. So just keep an eye on that, and always just make sure the pH is in balance. That is it's an important point. But this is one of the ones as well, which you'll see more often. If you put too much phosphorus in, you're going to get the burnt tip leaves, like we said. You know, the tip of the leaves going to go like brown, a dark orange kind of color. But also, if you're going through flower, the pistils on the flower, they'll all get burned and turn orange and brown too soon as well. You know, people sometimes try and use the pistils, the little white hairs on the flowers. They try and use those pistils as a sign of the plant being done. But if you've given it too much PK at some point, then you could burn the tips, and then it's not done. It just looks done because you burn the tips a bit. So be careful. You know, you just don't ever give the plant too much. It's better to give less. You know. Less is more, they say, with this kind of thing. All right. Well, anybody want to... Sorry, Marge?
I said
Margaret?
less is more.
Yes.
Well said.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And check your pH.
And check your pH. Yeah, and there's always that controversy when it comes to soil, and I'm sure I mentioned in the medium episode as well. You know, some people, they don't need to check their soil if they're in living soil and things like that. But in my personal opinion, I think it's always a good idea if you're having problems. If you're not having problems, then fine, man, carry on. But if you do start to have problems, pH is the first thing you should check. You know, even in good soils, you know. That's the way it goes. Right, so it's and pretty much the same thing here with potassium deficiency as well, except when you get a deficiency of it, the leaves are going to start losing color from the outer. You know, you got the blades on each leaf. There's like 7 blades on some, sometimes 9. You know, you can go up, but it'll be light green in the middle, then it goes to like a yellow, and then orange burn around the tips of that. So I hope you can visualize that correctly. So I don't know, it's like brown to yellow to green, and into the leaf. Each blade will be affected. So you keep an eye out for that, and that might be a potassium deficiency. But if you're giving it too much, you're going to get them brown spots, like we said there on the phosphorus one as well. You're going to get the orange. It's rusty kind of color, so it's like a brown orange kind of color. If you're seeing that, usually around the middle growth as well, it wouldn't be at the bottom, it'll be around the middle of the plant, the middle leaves. That's where you want to keep an eye out for that. And this is something we say as well. When you come over to Percy's and you bring a picture of the deficiency you want us to check out, take a picture of the whole plant so we know the location of it. Because a yellow leaf at the bottom of the plant is a different situation to a yellow leaf at the top of a plant. You know, and the rust spots at the top of the plant is different to being in the middle of the plant. You just figure out which specific nutrient is or deficiency or excess is causing the specific problem. So bear that in mind, right? But if you're keeping the pH in check and you're not feeding too much, then you shouldn't really see many deficiencies. And especially if you're growing in the living soil and things like that as well. Once the plant's settled in, you shouldn't see many issues until you get into the late flowering stage. But if you're growing in salt-based nutrients, then you do need to keep a bit more of a check on it. Make sure the plant's getting enough. But if you're just using a quarter of what the manufacturer's recommended, you shouldn't really see any issues. And if you do, it'll be a small issue, but you can just increase the amount of milliliter per liter you're giving by a little. And the plant will be fine after that. That's the main ones anyway. Does anybody want to talk about CalMag now? What are you saying, Billy? Yeah. You like CalMag?
Not really drinking it though.
I never tried it to be. I thought you liked milk. Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, I do like CalMag in that way. Yeah, I suppose I do drink CalMag then. But yeah, I think I just like adding it with the soil originally. I think with enough, and then like I have worm shit, bokashi, and obviously the top ups for amendments for flowering, and it seems to sort it out mostly. So
it's an important nutrient, man. You know, it's
yeah.
People underestimate it because we talk about NPK a lot when it comes to nutrients, but calcium is like 4th and should be included in them top 3 really. It uses the folklore. Don't underestimate how much calcium a cannabis plant actually needs to grow happily, because this is responsible for cell division and how the plant grows. You know, the magnesium is involved in photosynthesis.
Yeah,
it's such an important part of growth.
The smaller the pot, the more calcium you need to add to the plant in living soil as it goes, as a topping and stuff, for sure. I've noticed that. So to make sure there is enough in there in the whole soil to begin with is important. Is then having again enough soil and having a good topping during flowering as well, because that's when it's going to really start to like. Because some plants, once it kicks into that stage, it just eats it. Loads of it, and if there's not much left, then it's just going to have 4 to 6 weeks of starving, really, isn't it?
And it won't grow to it, even if you give everything it needs for everything else. It's not just not going to do what it's supposed to do if it doesn't have that calcium. It's such an important, give it enough nutrient, give it enough nitrogen and potassium and shit. That's all fine, but without that calcium, it's not going to be able to do the jobs it's supposed to do properly. So it needs enough. Make sure you're supplementing that shit. There'll be a little bit
right.
in your NPK and in your grow newts and your bloom newts. There'll be a little bit, but you need that bit extra when it comes to cannabis. It loves calcium.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing to add. If anything, that's what you'd want to add a little bit more of, isn't it? Every now and every other, maybe during the first 4-6 weeks, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, at some point as well, you can obviously give it too much. You get to the excess stage, but just look out for the dark leaves there, and them leaves will seem like heavy. They'll wilt a little bit more. So keep an eye on that as well. And growth may be stunted, but there's other reasons why growth may be stunted as well. And this is why we say, come and get a second opinion. But it's not very often, unless you're being absolutely stupid and putting like 5 milliliter per liter of CalMag into the feed. You're not going to see a calcium excess, really. The plant deals with it very well. So it depends on the brand you're using, but just be careful with it. Bring it up slowly. If you see any kinds of like rust on the leaves again, in the middle of the leaves, if the plant looks nice and healthy, if the leaves look nice and healthy other than a few orange spots on them leaves in the middle, then that's probably down to a calcium deficiency, and the bottom leaves will get a bit wilty and fall off. They won't necessarily go yellow, but they won't look healthy. So this is how you can tell that it's a calcium deficiency. It doesn't necessarily go yellow. They'll lose a little bit of luster, but the lack of yellowness is usually down to the NPK. Because, like we say, the calcium is an immobile nutrient, so it's not going to be pulled from the bottom of the plant up until the top, So keep an eye on that. And then, of course, magnesium, which is very similar. You're going to have the same kind of look as a calcium deficiency, but you're going to have more like this. The leaves start to go yellow, but in the veins of each blade, like the what's the name of them fucking things? Interveinal yellowing or interveinal chlorosis. But the veins of the leaves stay dark green while around it goes kind of yellow. So you get there's much more detail on the leaf. That will help you understand what I'm trying to say. Usually it's just a nice one whole color all the way along. It will fade little bits depending on what's wrong with it. But if the inside, if the blades, the veins of the leaf are staying dark green and the rest is turning yellow, then yeah, that's going to be a magnesium deficiency. And if you got magnesium deficiency, you probably have a calcium deficiency as well. And this is where you would treat it with a CalMag, and there's a thing which in cocoa as well. Just to quickly interject there again, in cocoa you're gonna have to use a little bit more calcium because the cocoa itself pulls calcium out of the nutrients, so the plant can essentially fight for it. And if the cocoa takes more calcium out of the feed than the plant does, there's going to be a problem. So growers growing in cocoa specifically would tend to use more CalMag. Yeah, so bear that in mind if you're growing in cocoa. But usually if you're growing in soil, you should be all good. If you're using good soil, if you're using good living soil and shit, you should be all good. Margaret, do you see any like calcium deficiencies in your plants or anything like that? It's probably just all fine, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't this time around. And it was a new batch of soil that I built like this spring, so I must have gotten my ratios correct.
Nice. And that's it for the nutrient deficiencies, really, and excess. You have to come and get some help over at Percy's. There will be other ones. You can get sulfur deficiency. You can get deficiency of all of these things, but those main 4 or 5 there with the CalMag at the end, the plant can get those pretty easily. But the other ones, those micronutrients, however many they may be, the pH is so important for those. If the pH is off a little bit, then the plant is not going to be able to get it, even if there's plenty of it in the grow medium. So make sure that the pH is correct if you're getting one of those minor the micronutrient kind of deficiencies, but they're rare to see. If the other ones are in check, if the top 5 are in check, then the other ones are probably in check as well, so you won't see those very often. It will be a pH issue if you see those. But there's your nutrient issues. If you have any of those problems, of course, then head over to Percy's and check it out. But there's other things as well that are going to cause problems to your plants. This is bugs, bro. Bugs.
Ugh, the worst.
Do you want to tell us some stuff about bugs there, Margaret?
They're pests for a reason.
Yes. You had spider mites before, right?
I've never had spider mites, no, but I had thrips. Or thrips, is that what you call them?
Yeah,
Trips? Thrips?
thrips.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
had
even
those
know
a
what
couple
these
years ago.
fucking things were, until I started
I don't
growing
think I
weed. I
did
did.
either.
I was like, what the fuck is even a thrip?
Yeah.
What's that the name for?
Yeah.
So what did you notice? Can you remember what you noticed about the plants when you had thrips?
I'm trying to remember because at the old place that I had, like it wasn't ideal conditions for growing outdoor anyway, and this was on an outdoor grow. But I did notice like these little tiny white things all over the plant.
Little fuckers.
They were little fuckers.
Yeah, just giving me flashbacks, man. Damn.
And they were like all over the place. Like it
Ah,
wasn't just like concentrated in one area or anything.
and you
It
know
was
what
like
as well? I was so upset by it. Let's just say upset by it. It's like, oh no, they're gonna kill my plant. He's gonna. They were fine. They were fine. There's this thing when it comes to bugs, right? I've said before that the best nutrient for a plant is the farmer's shadow, and this is why. If you catch the bugs early, you'll solve the problem uh, without it being too much of an issue. If you ignore it, if you don't go and check on your plants every day, and you leave it like 5 days, 6 days, a week without checking on your plants, then if a bug got in there, say if you've gone and checked on your plants and you had an aphid on you, didn't even know, just gone and checked on your plants, then you've left, come back a week later, that aphid has fucking produced 1 billion babies, and they don't even have plants anymore. I'm exaggerating, but that could be the case. They eat the fuck out of everything. You have to be really careful. So the more often you can check on your plant and keep an eye out for symptoms of bugs, the less likely there's going to be a problem. So do have a quick, brief check on your plants every day if you can, to make sure that you do notice any changes so they can be addressed quickly. Right. So you said you had thrips marks. Can you remember what they looked like on the leaves? What kind of marks were left on the leaves?
I don't, to be honest. Like I can't remember if they eat the leaves or not. They must do something though.
Well, the
Do
classic
they?
sign, they bite into the leaf and they suck the juice out of it, if I remember correctly, and
Right.
that's what starts making the plant look like shit. But the key sign that you will see, if you see on your plants and you haven't sprayed it, because if you get a bit of foliar feeding, sometimes that can leave residue behind. But if you're seeing spit patches on your leaves, like it looks like spit, somebody spat on it and it's dried up. If you're seeing that kind of look on the leaf, then that's gonna be thrips. These are a motherfucker to deal with. I mean, I say
They're
motherfucker to deal with. You
spitting
don't
on
want
our
to freak
plant.
out. Yeah, yeah,
Doctor.
Little bastards.
yeah, yeah. I think it might be their shit though. I don't know. I don't like to think.
It probably is.
Who
Yeah.
cares what it is? Fucking get it off. You can't have my
Mhm.
plant. That's mine. These motherfuckers. But it's a very common one. Thrips are a common one, man. And I mean, you hear about spider mites a lot, but thrips are definitely more common than spider mites. I haven't seen many cases of spider mites in my time over at Percy's. I mean, there's been a few, but it's not been major. I've never seen them myself personally. So
And were the spider
that's
mites
cool.
more like for people with indoor grows or outdoor?
Well, I think outdoors, it depends on the health of the plant. If the plant's healthy, then it's much likely that it will be able to fight off these pests themselves. But when you see them outdoors, there's usually other bugs that eat spider mites. So if there's
Mm,
a spider mite on your plant, then another bug's going to come along and eat that spider, and it's the circle of life,
right.
like the Lion
Yeah.
King, you know. So it's not so bad outdoors. I mean, it can happen, but if the plant's strong, it's going to fight it off, and there's going to be predators that are going to eat the spider mites as well. So it's not so much of an issue. But indoors, you don't have those, so you really have to make
Right.
sure you have a healthy plant. But even still, if a spider mite gets in there and it starts laying eggs, it's going to take over pretty quick. So
Is
the
that when
difference,
people buy like ladybugs or whatever?
yeah, ladybugs, they are good at killing the spider mite. The aphids, I think, are the favorites for the spider mites. The specific bugs you can use are like little nematodes and shit that will
Mm-hmm.
live in the soil and reduce the chances of you getting bugs and all of that as well. So it's something you should definitely look into if that's a concern. But yeah, spider mites are herpes for plants. So yeah, I like that. That's valid. That is backblast. Very nice. But people get concerned now when you get these spider mites. Like we said with the thrips, you're going to get these with the thrips. You'll have these little white dots, but you'll see spit patches as well. Now with the mites, because they're mites, they're really fucking small, and they'll bite into the leaves, and you'll just have tiny white dots all over the leaf, and it'll be all over the plant eventually. They spread pretty quick. So if you just got a shitload of white dots on your leaves, then it's probably going to be spider mites. And to see if the spider mites are there, you need to turn the leaf upside down and check the underside of it. They're going to be tiny, so small, like less than a millimeter. They are tiny, tiny bugs. But if they're there, you will see them. They'll be in little bunches and shit if you're unlucky to have so many. And it's reasonably easy to treat if you get it early enough. You can just clean them off the leaves, spray some neem oil and shit. We'll cover the pest control in a different episode. We just want to make sure that you have an idea of what to look out for. Otherwise we'll be here for 4 hours explaining how to treat each one of these individual problems. But if you got them tiny white dots on all the leaves, then it's probably spider mites. Now, if it's come to the stage where you've got these white dots and also over the buds you have webbing, that's definitely spider mites. And by the time the webs have come up, it's pretty much too late, man. That's going to be all on your buds and shit. And what essentially it's trying to do is these plants are going to make your plant weak, so it'll start to get yellow, drain all the energy out of it, and the plant will fall over, land on another plant, and that's how they infect the next plant. You got to be careful with the fucking spider mites, man. So just be careful, keep an eye out for them. If you see little white dots on the leaves, just be cautious, man. Be careful. Look out for them spider mites. They're going to be the most common ones. Spider mites and thrips, very common. I mean, I don't see aphids very often over at the forum. What else do we see over at the forum? There's another one, fungus gnats, right? These little fuckers. They're just these tiny little flies that fly around the place, and you'll see growers would use like yellow sticky traps or sometimes blue because they prefer blue, and the flies will get stuck to that. And that's essentially just because if you're growing in soil and there's some wood in the soil, that's what they like. I mean, it's not like only if there's
Some
wood.
moisture too, right?
Yeah, because the fungus grows on the wood because it's so moist there. There's a lot of moisture build up there in the soil on the top layer. So they just lay their eggs there and eat that, and everybody's all good.
Yeah, they're pretty easy to get rid of, though, I think. I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like, I've had them just in house plants before because
Mm-hmm.
they're a nuisance that way too, but
That's right. You don't need to do much, and this is it. Don't freak out when you see it, because all you have to do is let the top inch or two of the soil dry out in between waterings, and they should go away on their own. There won't be too much of a big issue. And as I said, if you check the plant often, they won't take over the whole room. You might see a couple, and you'd be like, oh shit, I'll get some yellow sticky traps in, and I'll let the top of the medium dry out a little bit, and it should be all good in a week.
yeah, they're pretty easy to deal with of all the things. If you get fungus gnats, be happy
Yeah, that's it.
because they're pretty easy to deal with compared to some of those other problems.
Especially them spider mites.
Yeah.
But there's whitefly as well. It's all the same kind of thing at that point. You got to treat them in the same kind of with the same kind of treatment. It's not too different depending on which one you're using. The fungus gnats are the easiest because you don't even need pesticides and shit. You just let that dry out. But when it comes to thrips and spider mites, you might need to use some kind of pesticides, and it depends on what level you want to go to. You can use fire if you wanted to, but your plants won't enjoy it. Use neem oil is a very common one, but some people don't like that. You can just do it with soap and water. That kills a lot. You can make your own homemade pesticides. All these guys are over at percysgrowroom.com, and it goes into detail about each bug as well. So if you're having specific problems, then head over there, ask questions, read the guides. All the information is there for you if you have a bug issue. But there is that specific difference between the nutrient deficiencies and the bug deficiencies. Look out for them dry spit patches. That's going to be thrips. Keep an eye out for tiny bite marks on the plant. Like little dots, white dots. That's going to be the spider mites. The fungus gnats. It's a little bit different. You'll see them flying around the room, but if you don't see them, then it's gonna be looking like a nitrogen deficiency, like an overwatering problem with the plant, because the fungus gnats like the moist soil with the wood in it, so their shit actually and there needs to be a lot of them. It's not like a couple of them who's going to fuck it up, but it all adds up. Their poop, their feces reduces the drainage of the soil, so it holds in water for longer, which can cause problems as well.
Which creates the whole problem of there being too many fungus gnats because they like the damp stuff.
Goes round and round, man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so keep an eye out for that. If you water correctly, you shouldn't see them, and just to prevent bugs like this, and again, we'll go into more detail about individual bugs and how you can prevent it and how to treat them all in an episode further down the road. We just want to make sure that you know what problems to look out for. Like, it's not normal if you see white dots all over your plant. Cannabis plants don't grow webs. If you see webs, it's a problem. So just and come and ask for help if you need it. But there's so many different ways to treat them, and hopefully you don't need to use pesticides to do it. If you catch it early, you shouldn't have to. So, but there's other things like moths, caterpillars. I mean, if you see caterpillars, then they're going to be big bites. Like, oh look, something's taken massive bites out of my plant. That's going to be your caterpillar. You got grasshoppers and crickets and shit that like to eat them sometimes, but it's less likely to be seen, especially when you're growing indoors. So you just be careful, be clean, and you shouldn't see any. You should be okay. So, quick recap there. If you're looking at a major deficiency of the nitrogen, potassium, or phosphorus, you're going to see these yellow leaves at the bottom of the plant, and the yellowness will move up. If you're seeing too much of it, if you're seeing too much nitrogen, it's going to be the nitrogen claw, the dark leaves. Nitrogen claw, if it's too much potassium or phosphorus, you're going to see some rust around the tips of the leaves, maybe some brown dots, and this is going to be on the middle of the plant, not necessarily the middle or the top. It'll be more like the bushiest parts of the plant. So keep an eye out for that. You got a calcium, which is a common one. Just look out for weakness across the whole plant. Little rust dots on the leaves as well. Check out that. Keep an eye out for that. It's not likely that you'll see the calcium excess, like I said, but just look out for darker leaves, and that is a obvious sign that you're feeding too much if the leaves are too dark. And magnesium as well. Keep an eye out for that one. That's the nutrients. Then just look out for bite marks on the leaves. I mean, bugs are not going to turn a whole leaf yellow. You know what I mean? But what will turn a whole leaf yellow is bud rot. Yeah. So if you just a couple more things to add on it before we move on to the listener mail section, is the whole bud rot shit. You've had bud rot before, right, Billy? Billy, you there? Billy, you sleeping?
Yeah, I've had bud rot.
Yeah, and you notice this big ass yellow leaf that will be sticking out of it, right?
Yeah, and you just pull it and it just comes off really easy.
No resistance at all.
Like no resistance whatsoever, and you're like, no.
Yeah. Once because if you don't know, you're gonna pull it and you'll be like, that was strange. But when you know, it's like that meme, with the Mr. Incredible in color and Mr. Incredible in black and white. It's like that leaf came off easy. Those who know, those who don't know. But if that leaf comes up, if you're looking at your plant and it's all looking nice and healthy, and it's got buds on it, obviously, and quite well grown buds as well. But then there's just this one leaf that is unusually yellow.
Why is that sugar leaf just pull off like that?
Yeah. Or even the fan leaves as well, the big leaves.
Yeah, the fan leaves. Yeah.
If it's just that one leaf, maybe two from a specific area, and then you just give it a little pull, and if that comes away with no resistance, then you probably got bud rot inside of that bud. You're gonna have to get closer. You're gonna have to have a closer look. Try not to disturb it too much in case it is bud rot. And hopefully it isn't in there. Hopefully it's just a one-off leaf that got broke or something. But if it's at the top and it's just yellow on its own, it's probably down to bud rot. So keep an eye out for that shit. It's bad. There's also this shit called powdery mildew. If you see white, I don't know, what's the best way to describe how powdery mildew looks? Like a frost.
White powdery substance. Yeah, like a white frosty powder. Like a very cheap cocaine or something sprinkled lightly over your plant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's not so bad. I mean, if it gets on your buds, it's going to be shit, but you're most likely going to see that on your leaves, and that's pretty easily treatable as well. But that's going to look different from any bug or infestation from bugs or nutrient deficiency and shit. Just keep an eye on that, But bud rot is the harshest thing. If you have bud rot, there's no fixing it. If you got a nutrient deficiency or excess, you can fix it. Same with bugs. If you got bugs, you can fix it. But when it comes to bud rot,
fucked.
It's game over for that. Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I mean, that's most of the shit that you're gonna experience. If the plant doesn't look right, and when I say it doesn't look right, it can be really easy to just look at the simplest thing and think that the plant's having a major issue, and it's not the case most of the time. If it's just a few little dots here and there, if there's just tiny little bit of tip burn, it's probably nothing to be worried about. The plant's just continue as you are, and the plant will do the adjusting itself. to take what it needs and leave what it doesn't. It kind of balances things out, especially if you're in soil. So bear that in mind as well. Don't give the plant time to adjust sometimes. If it's a major issue and it's looking absolutely fucked, like shitloads of yellow leaves, or you're getting concerned, then do something about it. But don't rush into it, and always get a second opinion over at percysgrowing.com as well. But that should be it.
If it dies, it dies.
Yeah, people don't want to hear that though.
No, but it's true though. You can start again. It don't matter. It's not the end of the world, is it? If you know what I mean, it's like, well, you've lost a month or two. It's like we're going to live another 50 years, so I'm sure you're not give a fuck in 10 years' time. So carry on.
And eventually, you just get used to it. You get used to growing. You get used to spotting these issues. At some point, you don't even see them eventually, because you just know what the plant needs when, and you figure it out. It's a process. It's a hobby that you got to figure out step by step eventually. But yeah, man, it's fun. Don't be scared if you see a problem. Just come and get help over at Percy's. But is there anything to add? Do you have anything to add to this one, Margaret?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all. And like you said, if you need help, ask for it. No shame in that. We've all been there. We've all dealt with it at some point or another.
Yeah.
So
don't
they're
panic.
Inevitable, but not the end of the world either.
Yeah. It's all treatable, man. Especially if you catch it early. I'll say,
Right.
I mentioned about it. If you see just a few dots, don't get too concerned. But at the same time, if it increases, then do come and let us know. If it's bad, if you notice something and it's crossed more leaves than you expected, then yeah, do fucking find help. But just don't panic, man. Don't panic. Don't rush into anything. Nothing's going to happen in 24 hours. You'll be fine. So just come and get some help. You got anything there to add, Billy?
I was going to say the best thing is if you have any problems, just snap a load of pictures and whack them online and discuss your issue. You come across sooner or later the answer to it, and so within 72 hours that you're going to have a problem sort of half resolved. And like I say, the end of the week,
you're just waiting for it to catch up, isn't it? That's all.
Yeah. So it's just, again, that's it. It's just take your time, take some pictures. Most people have phones with cameras now, so it's like just whip out, take 5 or 6 good pictures and whack it online. No worries.
Yeah, man. So I think that's just about everything. I mean, I can't think of any other common cannabis plant problems, but of course there are other problems as well. This isn't all of them. This is just the ones that you most likely will see, but may never see at all if you just keep track of everything. It's like I say, I've never seen the spider mites. I've had fungus gnats before, and thrips. Fucking thrips, man. Yeah. That I still suffer PTSD from that experience. But yeah, nutrient deficiencies are very rare to see. When you get into flower, I myself, I see PK deficiencies, but nothing major. It's all adjustable. So yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, quick one there. I seen he said probably too much light. Yeah, this is another thing. You might see it because the LEDs are so powerful nowadays. But if the top of the buds there getting crispy and turning white, your light's too close to the top of the plant. Yeah, that's one we missed. But you shouldn't see that. If you're abiding by the rules of the LED manufacturer, you shouldn't see that. But it's also a potential. But that's it. Let's do some listener mail. Oh, we had some interesting questions this week, didn't we? You had one, Billy. You want to do the first one there?
Right, yeah. I wanted to know how vampires shave in the mirror, basically, because obviously you can't see yourself in the mirror, so shaving's a bit difficult, isn't it? So how do vampires shave, especially in the mirror?
Good question, because they usually are clean shaven, aren't they?
They're always very clean shaven. So yeah.
That is a great question.
Well, maybe they usually seem quite rich as well, these vampire guys. So maybe they just have a barber in the house.
They have a slave, yeah.
Yeah, butler guy,
butlers,
shave my face.
The butler guy, yeah.
Maybe they have like laser hair removal.
What about like the homeless ones that like haven't been able to scrape enough money together and all of that? How do they shave?
Rich uncle.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a vampire, you must have some kind of rich person in your lineage somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. You live like 500 years. If you're 500 years old and you ain't made a couple million yet, you got issues.
Yeah, I suppose you would have invested like Apple and all of that, or in the Waterloo War or something years back. Like,
you know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
let us
But
know if
even
there's any
still-
vampires out there. Yeah, let us know.
Yep. How'd you shave, please, vampires? Yeah.
Yeah, good question there. Good question. Solving the world's problems one at a time. We got one from Adam Baum here. It says, I have an outdoor plant and the seasons are beginning to change. Is there anything I can wrap around my plant to protect it from frost in the coming month? The one is not in a pot, so I can pick it up, and one's not in a pot, so I can't just pick it up and move it indoors. And this is a similar problem you have
Great
now, ain't it,
question.
Margaret? Yeah.
Yes, I would like to know the answer to this.
You don't have any ideas, no?
Well, when I read this question, I wondered, like, you see people sometimes wrapping outdoor shrubs and trees for the winter time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't know if that's designed to protect them, if that would help.
Yeah,
I don't know what the
That-
material is though.
That's mostly protect the stems so the stem doesn't freeze and shit, rather than just because he needs to protect the buds, doesn't he? So if you put something on the buds, then they're just going to rot because they're going to hold a load of moisture. That'd be the issue there, isn't it? So
Yeah, this is it, and because it's like the frost is when the moisture in the earth freezes and it essentially falls upon the
build a
plants, right?
greenhouse around it.
Yeah, that's what I would suggest. You know,
Yeah.
build some kind of structure around it, and it doesn't necessarily
They
have to be
need
a
warmth.
greenhouse. You
Need
know,
some kind
yeah, they build these cold boxes. You know, people who grow on allotments and things like that, they build these cold boxes so you can still grow onions and shit throughout the winter because they don't take as much light, but it keeps the frost off. And you can build it out of cheap PVC, something like that, just to build a structure around the plants. If you could have something that could be removed easily as well, so throughout the day when it's not going to get frosty, the plant can get as much light as possible. But then you can put it away overnight, so when morning comes around, when you're going to see the most frost, or on the evening, you know, those times of day, then it'll be safe from getting the frost on it. But damn, that's a lot of work, man. But it's worth it if your plant's big and you want to keep it safe. I wouldn't say, you know, like covering it with a blanket or anything like that is a good idea, because that's just going to trap moisture and increase the chances of bud rot forming. You don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know how you'd wrap it in a blanket without
Mm.
wrecking some of it.
Yeah, it's too
Burning,
much.
like breaking branches or something. I don't
The
know.
best option is to build something around it, I think.
Yeah.
Damn. And grow
Yeah.
autos next year. That's the plan. All right. So it can be
Yeah.
down before this shit even becomes a problem. But you should be all right. You should be all right. I mean, when's your first frost come, Marge? Do you know? Margaret, do you know?
Well, it always depends, but I think once you're getting into October, definitely.
Yeah.
Probably Thanksgiving, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any
Yeah,
Canadians
December time,
understand, but
definitely. Yeah.
yeah, because a lot of things will like close up by Thanksgiving. So if
Mm.
you have like outdoor patios and different places, it just starts to get too cold. So you're into frost territory by then for sure. Which, just to clarify for those of you listening, Thanksgiving in Canada is in October, not November, like
Okay.
as it is in the States. Because this U.S. Thanksgiving's in November.
That's what I thought. I thought it was early December. No, it's like the
December.
second Tuesday in no, is it second Thursday
Isn't it
in
the
November or
third?
something?
Isn't it the
I don't-
third Thursday?
it's the third.
Something like that. Something like that.
But yeah, the U.S. one, because it coincides with Black Friday.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah,
our
so-
Thanksgiving's a lot earlier.
Damn, it's as if it's already that time of year. Gosh, this
Oh,
year's
God.
flown by, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been an exciting one. Damn. Yeah, I hope that answers your question there, Adam Bomb. And if you do figure something out, if you do build something, of course, we want to see you make that build over at percysgrowroom.com and let everybody know what you're doing and how it worked out. That would be cool to see some kind of grow like that. If we've got the DIY section, you can drop that in there. That'd be super cool. We have a question here from How Grows It. One for next week, which he sent last week. And I have no idea, so I'm hoping that one of you guys do. I've just been shown an Instagram advert for HHC flour / gummies here in the UK. Any idea or experience with what the fuck that is?
What's HHC?
Same question.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
yeah. Do you know, Billy?
No, it's probably some shit form of like flour in it. Was some sort
So,
of
yeah,
like
some
CBD,
kind of
THC, HH, some shit.
There's some
Nah,
fake
I'd say-
cannabinoid. You know,
I'd
if anybody
say
in the
leave
chat
it
there, let
about-
us know.
Stuff or something, or
Mm.
Wouldn't bother with it. It's just wank.
Hydrogenated THC. What? Is that hydrogenated THC? That's what I was saying. I don't know. I've never heard of this shit, and I don't know why they bring this shit out. Yeah, hydrogenated. Yeah,
They're just trying to get around regulations, isn't they? Really,
yeah,
I'd just
probably.
rather grow my own THC weed and like think, well, fuck buying shit from the shop.
Yeah, I mean,
Innit?
if we haven't heard of it by now, it's fake. They've made it up in a fucking lab or something. You know, we know all the
Yeah.
major cannabinoids by now. And I don't know, just HHC out of nowhere. Fuck, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's like H4 CBD, which is hydrogenated CBD. Damn. They really would just do anything except for legalize, won't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
just make anything up in a test tube basically, and then rather than
Damn.
give us a plant.
So, yeah, look, we can make money off this one. This isn't patented by nature. Cheeky fuckers. And this question does carry on here as well. Aren't all psychoactive synthetic substances in the UK illegal to buy, sell, import, or export? Summer 2015, when the bill was passed to stop the sale of research chemicals, but legal to possess. Yeah, because they were doing that for a while, weren't they? Because they were releasing stuff, and because the law didn't know about it, like spice. Remember when spice was going around and all the kids were smoking spice and shit? Because there was no rule on it, because it hadn't been mentioned in the Misuse of Drugs Act and shit. So people were just using that, and it was completely legal. Could be sold in head shops. People were thinking it was weed, hitting that shit, and then having a bad time. Anyway, aren't they? We got something. Did you copy this blue stuff, Billy? Is this for you?
Yeah, that's what
You
I've
want to
put
take
in
that way?
there. Yeah, well, basically, what it is that they changed the act pretty much, basically, and it's the Psychoactive Substances Act of 2016. And it makes it an offence to produce, supply, or offer to supply, possess with intent to supply, possess on custodial premises, import or export psychoactive substances. And that basically just covers all these new ones, basically. So instead of saying one particular substance is illegal, it's like all of them are. If it's psychoactive, then no matter what, it's illegal to produce and sell. And that's why all these head shops stopped
It's like
selling
a
it.
blanket ban.
Yeah, it's like a blanket ban rather than just one. Because what that was banning one specific substance, and then that was changing a molecule and switching it for another one,
So you
new
then you're playing
substance.
whack-a-mole.
Yeah, basically, and they was playing whack-a-mole, so they changed the laws to define all of them now come the psychoactive substances. So yeah, so no, you're not allowed, and it's Schedule 1, and you're going to get fucked if you use them. Even personal possession isn't allowed. Right? It's illegal, very, and also very dangerous as well because you don't really know what's in it. So again, why choose something that nature provides? Like why bother? Why be that stupid? You know what I mean? Why what? It's illegal anyway. So why would you go through the issue of having the nature, which is cannabis, and then choosing something that's also illegal and what's dangerous and could kill you? It's just, to me, it's just stupid, and it's like the what are they called when it's stupid? People kill themselves doing stupid things.
Darwin Awards, yeah.
That's it, the Darwin effect. Yeah, basically that's what it is. That's what it's there for.
Wow, interesting. So this goes on as well, isn't it? Like a psychoactive substance are defined as any substance intended for human consumption that is capable of producing a psychoactive effect. What does that even mean, man?
Yeah, exactly. It's just another way. It's a blanket ban again. They want to just ban all.
Can you
things that we can
define
get high on.
psychoactive effect to me, please?
Well, they were saying technically that this should, when this was coming in, they're saying technically then coffee or cheese could be banned, or cigarettes, chocolate as well. Yeah, so it's like, again, they sort of obviously put a bit more. There's obviously, it goes deeper than that. That was just like an overview. It goes deeper to describe what exactly they mean, which rules out coffee and chocolate and shit like that. So
yeah, ridiculous.
Again, yeah,
you know, it's all mind-altering substances. Anything that alters your perception, in my opinion, even sugar should be considered as a drug or a psychoactive substance. I don't know.
Yeah. But we live in the UK, man. We're under draconian law here.
We won't even get into that. Yeah, and caffeine, Margaret said there as well.
Oh yeah, I can't get my day going without caffeine. What?
Yeah, you know, even
Addicted?
I just have a couple of coffees in the morning and then I'm good. But some people drink it all day, and when they don't, they suffer headaches and shit. You know. That's a psychoactive substance, I think. Excuse me.
100% it is.
Right, so we have one more here. OBX Bud asks, and this is quite a difficult question, I think. Is what is the maximum days after flip one can still successfully take clones? I normally do before flip, but I'm noticing one I called a couple of weeks ago, relocated outside, is now looking and smelling awesome. It's because it's outside, bro. They love it outside. S.Al in the chat said, did a horticultural course years back, and the lecturer always said an indoor plant is just an outdoor plant slowly dying. And, you know, yeah, I like it. They love it much more outside, so maybe that's the problem. Well, not the problem. Maybe that's the cause of it smelling the way it does. So, but let's take the first bit with the when's it good to flip. Take a clone any time throughout the plant. It's better to do it during veg because you don't want to stress the plant during flower. But you can take a plant during cutting during flower as well. It's going to be a little bit harder to get it to root because it's more woody than it would do during veg, and you have to re-veg it as well. Put it back up at 18.6. That's going to take 4 or 5 weeks before normal growth starts on that. But you can take a cutting at any time. It's just best to do it in veg because it don't stress the plant out through flower. And then while it's making its roots and stuff, it will begin to flower. I'm sure, as you know, you explain it here. But, as it begins to flower, you got a few where you can just take a few cuttings and store them aside. And if it turns out good shit, you got a copy of it, But I don't know if doing it later would improve the quality or anything like that. I'm not sure about that. Chillbot would be the man who knows the answer to that question because he knows all about that kind of shit. But yeah, interesting question for sure. You done clones before, Margaret?
Yeah, a long time ago. I did clones.
Do you remember taking them in veg and flower? What was the score?
Oh, definitely in veg. I don't think you can do them after flower, can you?
Well, you can. It just the plant won't like it as much. But yeah, you can definitely do it.
I was always told you to do it in veg, so that's what we did.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Billy? You got clones?
Really mattered. Sorry, I don't know if it mattered where you took them from, did it?
No, we had a guy called Clone Coach on a couple of weeks ago. And he explained a load of good information about cloning. So you're going to check that episode out if you want to learn how to do some clones, everybody.
We did miss a question in the chat, or in the show notes too.
Oh, in the show notes?
Yeah.
Oh, what do we have?
How do you feel about synthetically made cannabinoids in a lab? Have you ever tried them?
Yeah, good question.
Bad Wolfie.
All right, yeah, I see. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like, I say 10 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, I'll try that. But, something happened a few years ago that just fucking freaks me out about things that are made in a lab now. I don't know what it was. I can't remember specifically. There's something, right?
Yeah, something lab made was.
Yeah, something lab made.
Caused an issue or two, didn't it?
No. It was like.
Might have been.
Delta 8 stuff got
no,
really
I think it was
C19, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah,
like
I think that's right. C19 cannabinoid, that's what they called it.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
cannabinoid 19 or something.
SARS-CoV-2, I think it was. Is that what they call it? Yeah,
something like that, allegedly.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be causing any damage, is it? I'm sure it's going to be fine. But I'm really just happy with weed as it is, man. Is it not just? And we discussed it briefly earlier. It's not just perfect as it is, man. Do we need to push it any harder than we already push it? I mean, it produces delicious, delicious terpenes. Produces an awesome amount of cannabinoids from a large variety of different cannabinoids that all do a different thing. You just select the strain you want. You grow it in so many different ways, and any way you grow it is going to turn out to be good fucking cannabis, as long as you take care of the plant. And it's like, man, we don't need to go to the lab for these dodgy fucking cannabinoids. I mean, maybe they're good and they do specific things, and that's cool for those who need them. But for me personally, I don't need to try it, man. I'm sure if there was one where it was like, yeah, it makes you trip balls like your acid, I would like, okay, I'll give that a shot. Because I'm interested in different fucking highs, but I'd prefer if it was made naturally. Well, acid isn't natural, is it? I mean, it comes from ergot mold, but still, that's made in the laboratory, and I'll still take that. So, I don't know. It depends how I would feel on the specific day. I'd probably be like, nah, I'm just going to smoke a spliff, but it depends. It depends. What does it do? You know, you know
I
what I
just
mean?
feel too like the cannabis plant's so nuanced already, and like we
Mm-hmm.
already don't know a lot about it because it was prohibited for so long and still is in so many places. And
Mm.
it's like once you start producing cannabinoids in a lab, I don't know. It reminds me of like how they used to grow opium and now they just make fentanyl in the lab and people are fucking dying everywhere. So I just
Yeah,
think it puts it in the hands of more like pharmaceutical companies instead of growers and people like us.
yeah,
Yes, I don't
yeah.
know.
I
Yeah,
agree. I agree.
ground grown, not lab grown.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question, though. Let us know what everybody else thinks as well. You know, if you're in the chat there or if you're in the comments, listen to this after it went live. What would you do? Would you try any synthetic cannabinoids? Have you already tried some? Because there's already some out there already. And let us know what you think, man. Did you have a good experience, bad experience? We always like to hear from you guys. So drop a comment and let us know what you think about them synthetic cannabinoids. But damn,
Well,
I don't
Backblast said
know.
in the chat he tried spice and he
I was
said it was the worst experience he's ever had. So,
yeah.
yeah.
We had a guest on the show. Can't remember his name specifically. Who was his name? Fucking, it was a UK guy. Vape Fiend, was it? Yeah, I think it was Vape Fiend, and he was telling us that he had spice at one time. It's the first time he tried it, and he's like, "Yeah, let's try this." He hit it in a pipe like you would do cannabis, and it's like he looked down to hit the pipe, and then he looked up, and he was all just dribbling everywhere, and the Gnome King was in front of him, and it's like
Oh
completely took
God.
in completely different fucking dimension and shit. It's
Right.
like,
Which is
damn.
not really what you're expecting when you're like smoking cannabis.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Especially these guys who got the legal cannabis, as it was called, from the head shops here in the UK. That must have been like 10 years ago. I don't know.
Right.
It happened to a friend. We couldn't get any weed before. We had a specific job we had to do, and I won't go into too much detail. But we went to their head shop and we found some legal weed because we couldn't get any weed before we had to do it, and we needed weed. Right, and then he's hit this shit and he dialed 999, which is the emergency number here in the UK, and passed me his phone, and he was like, "This ain't right, man." And he fucking passed me his phone and passed out on the fucking ground, man. He was like, yeah, he was having heart palpitations and all this shit. Really messed him up. Obviously, I didn't hit the shit after he had that kind of effect. He was fine, like, but we wasn't expecting it. We wasn't expecting it to be so fuckery, man. That was madness. Damn. Yeah, be careful out there of these synthetic cannabinoids and spice and all this different shit. You know the best thing you can do, right, is you grow your own cannabis at home by following these grow guides, getting help over at percysgrowroom.com. That's what you need to do. And then you know your weed ain't got no pesticides on it. It ain't grown with no funky fucking nutrients with heavy metals in it. You know, it ain't been speed dried. Oh gosh, you know, and you know it's cannabis. You know what strain it is. There's so many good reasons for you to be growing your own cannabis, and all the help is there. You know, you're not on your own. Just come over to percysgrowroom.com, listen to the podcast, ask for help on the Discord. There's so many different ways, and you know, it's not just us. There's loads of other channels out there as well. So don't be shy, man. If you want to grow your own cannabis, if you want to feel safe that the cannabis you're getting is good and reliable and clean, best way to do that is by growing your own. So do that. But won't preach to the choir any more than that. Uh, there was one more question in the chat. Did I see it scrolled up? If you do have a question, put a Q in front of it as well, everybody, just so we know that it was that it's for us. But yeah, I found it here. We got it from the Big Bad Wolfie. Where do you take your cuttings from in veg topping or first second node when the leaves or when it flowers? It's always better to take it from like the bottom, really. I assume anyway. I mean, the clone coach who was on a few weeks ago, he said you can take it from anywhere. The bottom growth is going to be a little bit more woody, so it won't root as easy as something near the top. So the top's good as well because it's got the hormones in it or something. I'm not too sure. Go and listen to the episode about the clone coach, and he gives you all the information you need about how to take cuttings and clones and have them become successful plants on their own. Sorry, filmy balls there. So Phil says, done LSD many times before my daughters were born, but not anymore. But I'm sure you can tell. You don't. What? I thought you were watching Willy Wonka the other day with all this makeup on and shit. You done that without acid? Damn, even half a tablet, that would have been fucking awesome. Yeah, man. So that's all the questions that we have. And of course, if you do have any questions, you listen to the show, you have any questions, then head over to percysgrowroom.com/forum. Sign up for free, ask questions, get help, grow your own weed, and all that shit. But I think that's everything now, right? I think we've covered just about everything there. I mean, well, I would say just about everything. There's a lot more to all of this: deficiencies and bugs and rot and all of that shit. They're all big topics. We'll go into more details about each specific thing further on down the line. We just wanted you to know what to look out for here, the specific problems that you should look out for on your plants. And if you see these issues, come and get help over at Percy's. That's what you need to do. But that's it. That's all we have. Next week, we're going to be talking about flipping the plants to flower, because you should be like 4 or 5 weeks through veg now. So you'll be looking at flowering very soon. So we're going to be talking about flipping plants to flower and how to notice whether it's a male or female plant, because that's going to be useful for some of you guys as well. But that's it. Should we go to the outro? Are you ready to go?
Yes, yes.
Go.
Let's do it. Blah, 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 blah. Professionally fake. I haven't even asked anybody so far. You all hit that like button, right? And subscribe and shit.
I hit that like button. Be
Nice.
like Margaret, hit the like button.
That's right. I put that in my signature over, well, not that, but something like that. In my signature over at the forum. I was just looking at my Bitcoin wallet and noticing that it's like really empty. Got a fraction of a Bitcoin. It's like, damn, I need to do something about this. So I just copied my Bitcoin address in the signature over at the forum. And I just put like, send Mackie Bitcoin if you think cannabis is cool. You know, I haven't even checked the wallet or anything, you know, but damn, maybe somebody sent something. Who knows? Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe you're a Bitcoin millionaire by now.
You know, maybe I haven't checked, and somebody's out there listening, being like, "Has he checked yet? Has he checked yet? Has he checked? Oh my God, that's that 2 million I've been asking for. Thank you, everybody." You know,
If only.
one day we can dream. We can dream.
One day, that's right. That's all I need is a Bitcoin wallet that people can send money to.
Do you not have a wallet there, Marge?
Yeah, I do actually.
Cool, cool. Everybody,
Yeah.
get your wallets. Get your Exodus wallets up and running. It's free, you know, just in case. And yeah, there's lots of different places you can spend Bitcoin as well. Sorry, Billy.
I was just going to say it's about the thumbs up, but carry on with the Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it'll be something someday, maybe not. But you know, if you get Bitcoin and buy something from a seed bank or something somewhere, because that's what some people do, and you got a little bit left, and you're like, oh, what the fuck? So we even need to do with that? This is nothing. No, we're like, oh, I know what I can do with that. I can send that to Mackie. That's what I can... You know, imagine if over time I managed to build it up to a whole Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin becomes worth 2 million. It's like, yay, goal achieved. Goal achieved. You know? It's like the ultimate achievement, you know, of the Percy's Grow Room game. Earn 2 mil, you know? But yes, good show, everybody. Good show. I've enjoyed it. It's always fun. It's good to have you back, Margaret. Are you going to be back next week? You got any plans?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, no plans.
Sweet. Let's hope that we don't have too much crazy news to report on next week. Imagine if next week we get to report on a news story that's like the UK is fucking, they're making steps going to legalize. Can you believe?
That would be worthy of a special celebration.
Oh yeah, one day. But speaking of special celebration, we're like 30 members or something away from 5,000 members on the forum now. We're on 800. Yeah, really close to 5,000 members. We're on 880,000 downloads on the podcast. We've got 260,000 views over on the YouTube channel. Like, damn.
We got 62 thumbs up in the chat today.
Nice. And I think we reached 100 viewers listening to the show at some point today as well. So we're hitting these cool numbers now. We appreciate everybody coming along and spending time with us. We hope you're enjoying the show, everybody. And of course, if you have news stories, questions, feedback, suggestions, you know how to get in touch. You were saying something.
And we know chat likes a good thumb up anyway, so.
That's right, especially Billy. Yeah. Nice. I was 4 and 5. Okay. There's Banana Farmer, Racing Bud. Is it Racing Bud or Great Racer who is he races digital cars on the internet? Seen that? I'm just showing shit now. Fuck. Yeah, I'll wrap this up, yeah. But yeah, he races digital cars on the internet and he has that logo on his car and shit. It's very fucking cool. Very cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so good show, everybody. Thanks for joining us, as always. We appreciate you guys, man. I hope you have a good week. Of course, if you're a Patreon, there's going to be interviews on Tuesday, Thursday, and then Tuesday, Thursday again. Yeah, and there's going to be more as well. I've got quite a few lined up. So come and join us for those live. You know where it is. We'll send the links in the Discord and over in the VIP section on Percy's and on the Patreon page as well. And you can become a patron over at patreon.com/Percy's Grow Room if anybody was interested in that as well. But no pressure, of course. But we don't mention that very much. Yeah. But that's it. We good? I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels sad. It feels sad. We'll see you next week, everybody. We'll have another session. Yeah. Patreon sessions coming soon. That will be fun. We'll see you all then, everybody. Goodbye. Stay high, stay safe.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Waving.
Incredible.
Make hash.